across the quiet fields where the snow begins to fall. A silent question echoes down each and every hall. From the Atlantic shore to the Pacific's wide embrace, we look into the distance, searching every space. Maple trees stand watching in colors red and gold, for little hands to hold on to, for stories to be told. Where are all the children in Canada tonight? Underneath the northern lights, hidden from our sight, we keep a candle burning, a constant, faithful glow, hoping that they feel the love where the cold winds blow. Be safe, little one, wherever you may be. The heroes that you need are hoping to set you free. We trace the river valleys, we climb the mountains high, sending up a whisper to the vast and endless sky. A drawing left unfinished, a favorite teddy bear, gentle reminder stared, hanging in the air. A parent's heart is aching, refusing to give in, praying for the day when the searching finally ends and they can hold them again. Where are all the children in Canada tonight? Underneath the northern lights, hidden from our sight, we keep a candle burning, a constant, faithful glow, hoping that they feel the love where the cold winds blow. Be safe, little one, wherever you may be. The heroes that you need are hoping to set you free. Does the silence feel too heavy? Do the shadows look too deep? Remember all the promises the family meant to keep. We are looking, we are trying, across this spacious land. We need strong hands to help us. We need everyone to stand. Where are all the children in Canada tonight? Underneath the northern lights, hidden from our sight, we keep a candle burning, a constant, faithful glow, hoping that they feel the love where the cold winds blow. Be safe, little one, wherever you may be. The heroes that you need are coming, waiting to set you free. To the parents waiting by the phone, you are not in this alone. Bring them home, bring them home. Let our heroes rise. His grandma was watching in Boots Planet. Creek searched, no neighborhood were checked, no cameras were looked at, no geofencing used. His grandma just turned around for 18 seconds and then little Dylan went poof. Truro police looked for 6 days. Why weren't the Planet boots checked for fingerprints? Or even DNA? Dylan's mom don't speak to her mom anymore. Was it traffickers? Or did neglected to check all avenues because they choose to check the easiest thing was the body of water? He is still missing. Does he wonder if his family is looking? Does he still remember his daddy's voice? does he cry at night when it's dark and scary? Why cannot Canada do better by the children? They need heroes to come along and bring this children back. They need their parents to hold them tight. Stand up, Truro. And the RCMP, throw those guilty, sick members of your offices and government out the damn door. Our children need a hero. Let it be you!
Welcome in, everybody. Song never gets old. Thank you, Donna. Welcome in, everybody. I'm so happy to see you all here today. It's a beautiful tribute to all the missing kids. Yours truly. It's not going to be here super long today. Feeling pretty crappy in my PJs in bed. But let's talk about the new stuff. No, I'm not, honey. Oh, you're new. Let's bring these babies home. Absolutely. Hey, welcome in. You're welcome to stay. Welcome in. I'm not. Every time I think I'm feeling better, I don't know. It's not good. It's not good, but I'll be okay. I wanted to cover, and I was going to cover at 9:30 today. Thank you, honey. I'm sure I'll be fine. Like, it's not like I'm, got anything. It's just my daughter texted me this morning, and I think I told you guys, Chio had said that the flu season was going to be brutal this year, and they're not kidding. So I just ordered some online groceries. I am sick, honey bunny, but it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Let's talk about Jack and Lilly. And I was going to do, and Jonathan Boley. We got an update to poor little Jonathan Boley yesterday, the little 4-year-old. I got that cold for still coughing. Yeah, I know, honey. It's a doozer, eh, Bonnie? Oh, it's a doozer. Thank you, Diana. Thank you. See who's here. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Just Tuesday morning. Let's not forget about Jack and Lilly. It's Tuesday, January 6th. Thanks. Nice to see you here, Donna. I got your message. Sorry, I was just trying to order food online. I had the wrong bank card because I'm so sick. I was like trying to enter in my expired bank card number. So I don't have the energy, yes ma'am, to go anywhere, and I just ordered online food, so I don't know what that is, but I'll be fine, y'all. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. It's just every time I think I'm better, it's like it's a step backwards, but it's okay. Ottawa without catching it over Christmas, hopefully. Good for you, Damien. Were you in Ottawa, honey? Were you in Ottawa? Oh, what were you doing in Ottawa, honey? It's my hometown. My hometown. Yeah, it's pretty brutal this year. So we're going to start with, so I wanted originally are you really, Damien? Don't tell me your last name's Robitaille. You're not Damien Robitaille, are you? I used to have a Damien on my real estate team. I would shit my pants if you're Damien Robitaille. The world is a strange place. Okay. They'll make me laugh. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Actually, he was a great guy, Damien. He was a really experienced agent. But yeah, I'm just listening, miss y'all. So sick, poor honey. Oh, welcome in, Veronica. No worries, honey. Okay, I was going to cover, and I wanted to cover the new case. And I was going to do live at 9:30. We'll see how I last today. Because I was also going to do some updates to Gus Massoud. Sorry about the hair, everybody. I should let me go get my baseball cap, okay? So I can hide the bad hair. Hang on. Oh. There you go. I could be in my pajamas, but thank you, Veronica. Okay, we're going to talk about the Jack and Lilly case, and I would, like I said, I was going to do a live at 9:30 this morning, but I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. There's a new case I want to cover. If you haven't heard of the couple that was brutally murdered December 30th, the Tepe couple. I don't know if you've heard about them. They're all over the media right now. And Robin says my hair is a hot mess and I have bedhead. Yeah, you and me both. I'm going to try not to laugh. I'm knocking on wood I don't get that crud. No kidding. I'm telling you. I know. Damien, yeah, are you from Please Bring Me Home, Damien? I think it's you that's the volunteer with Please Bring Me Home. And if that's you, I just want to say thank you so much for your work. Thank you. If you feel like coming up here and helping me chat today, you're more than welcome to, honey. You're more than welcome to take the mic and chat with me about the search and or anything for that matter. And I want to say thank you for what you do. I really want to go and search like that someday. That's my goal when I have the resources to go out to places to volunteer to search. Because I volunteer with the Find Me group, but that's totally different, right? We don't go and look. Well, I don't, but we have canines and the whole yards. I don't know, Damien, if you've heard of the Find. I think some all chatted out after last night. Okay. Where were you last night? It's okay. I don't blame you. Oh, I missed Shannon's last night. I was on Charmaine's, but I missed Shannon's last night. Okay. Well, thank you. I'll go watch that then. Thank you. I meant to get to Shannon's, but yeah, shenanigans. Yeah, no, I meant to get to that last night. Hey, Sharon. Nice to see you. But yeah, it's totally different. So, hey, Anne, nice to see you this morning, honey. So thank you for your dedication, Damien, and your willingness to go look for the missing, because it cannot. Yeah, I know. I love her too. Her and Charmaine, just trying to stay out of the drama that's going on. Dragonfly, hey, Dragonfly. Morning, Stella. Yesterday we reported here. I wasn't sure what was going on, and I really don't care, other than there has been a falling out between the PI and the lawyer, and Charmaine confirmed that last night, and the drama stuff, I know exactly, and I honestly don't care, and if I can be, not I don't wanna be rude, like, I do care because it's taking away from Jack and Lilly, but I just don't give a rat's who said what, or like, I honestly don't care. I just want these kids found. I just want justice. And it's why I keep saying, it's not always great to get too involved and too close in the dynamics of the family, because sooner or later this stuff's going to blow up in our faces. And I know, honey, I watched it last night. I was on there last night. So, I mean, listen, I just want the kids found, and I just want to make sure that the only person who's looking for them, Miss Belinda Gray, is getting the help that she needs, and the rest of it can just suck wind, If Belinda has people she trusts and she's being supported in the way she needs to be supported, because again, she's the only person looking for these kids right now. So that's all I care about. So let's get into, and let's just pray that the drama just subsides, that we bring the focus back to these kids. And I want to show you the article that Belinda came out with yesterday, actually, because we'll talk about that in a second. Let me just go back to Jonathan Boley. Let's go back to Jonathan Boley. Let's go to the update. Boley, we've been covering Jonathan Boley here today, and regrettably, we'll listen to the update here. We were a little bit concerned about Dad, right? Because Dad had, and even the police were saying some undesirable things about Puppy, about Dad. But it turns out on the report that there was, when they found his body, he was in a body of water and there was no indication of foul play. So let's just listen to this. I know if you want a larger coverage of it, I was going to run it and I just wasn't feeling well enough. I know Daphne did a much larger update than this. But for me, it's like, it's over now that we know Dad's not considered in any way, shape, or form in this tragedy. For me, the story's over. So let's just listen to this 2-minute, 48-second clip, and then we're going to move on to Jack and Lilly, okay?
We're continuing to follow a case out of Walker County, the death of 4-year-old Jonathan Boley, who was found dead 2 miles from his home after last being seen on New Year's Eve. Good evening. I'm Sydney Spencer. CBS 42 News reporter Charlize Ramos was in Walker County today and spoke with the sheriff about what they know right now.
It's really sad.
Today, Sheriff Nick Smith released new details into the investigation of the death of Jonathan Boley, including that his body was found partially in a body of water. Right now, Smith says the investigation into his death is ongoing and law enforcement doesn't have any definite answers.
He was partially in a body of water. Buck was still with him in the area. And like I said, it's one of those things to where we got to work this thing all the way through to make sure that it was just an accident or if there was more to the story.
Walker County Sheriff Nick Smith says 4-year-old John Boley was last seen alive by his 6-year-old brother walking into the woods behind their father's home on New Year's Eve, following the family's dog, Buck. Investigators are still looking to determine Boley's cause of death. Smith says his body was found just 2 miles from his father's home.
The stories seem to be accurate, from what I've seen so far. It's just that, Buck and Jonathan crossed the fence line. The brother went back to tell the dad. And, from that point, we initiated a search.
Smith says the search was made difficult by explosive devices found in Boley's father, Jamison Boley's residence. This video shows the devices being set off by the Walker County Sheriff's Office. On day 1 of the search, hundreds of volunteers came to help. However, the explosive devices caused the search to be suspended for hours.
As far as and professional search groups never stopped looking for Jonathan. It was the volunteer, the citizens, because obviously we had a great outpouring of support from the community, and we did not need untrained volunteers in the area with the threat of explosives. So
no kidding.
We only suspended the civilian volunteers of people who wanted to come out and help search.
Boley is currently being held in Blount County. Smith says his charges do not relate to his son's death at this time.
He has an explosive charge for having the materials and things to make explosives. He has a chemical endangerment of a child charges as well, just because of the drugs and things that we found inside the residence.
Smith says he hopes to have more answers about what led to Boley's death after an autopsy, which is scheduled for Monday morning in Huntsville. Reporting in Walker County, Charlize Ramos, CBS 42 News.
So yesterday he did come out and say that at this point they really do not believe that the dad is involved, that it doesn't look like any foul play took place. But it's pretty sad. And that he was found in a body of water and the dog stayed there and the dog was alive. I think the dog. I don't know, man. I know it's so sad. The weirdest thing about that, I mean, I wish Damien, I don't know if Damien's still in the crowd, maybe he could talk about that, is why the dog, when the searchers were out, wouldn't bark, you know, to get their attention. Like, I'm wondering why the dog didn't bark. It's so weird. It's so sad, you know? Okay, let's get into Belinda did an interview here. And like I said, if you want to hear more on that, Daphne's case files, does everybody know Daphne in here? Daphne's case files, I can't even imagine that poor dog. I can't even imagine, you know? It's really sad. It's very sad. Yeah, if anybody wants the link to Daphne's, just let me know and I'll put it here in the chat if you want more information about it. But I usually, when a case has kind of wrapped itself up, I usually just kind of move on to things that are still unresolved. So if we hear differently and if the dad somehow becomes a target, you know, of the investigation, we'll pick it up. But it doesn't look like it. And he did a much longer clip yesterday. I think it was about 15 minutes, where he said he did not believe, they did not believe there was any foul play. So, okay, so here's Belinda. This was 23 hours ago. So yesterday, she did an interview, and this is in the Advocate. Grandmother hopeful Sullivan case will be resolved. You know, we've been talking since the new year about whether or not the police are going to pick this case up or not. And as it turns out, leaving 2025 in the rearview mirror, Belinda Gray is hopeful that the saga of the Sullivan children is close to being solved. So I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see, because I'm hoping, you know, I don't really know. I know it's sad, but I'm hoping that Belinda would have a little more communication with the police, because we've been debating whether or not, you know, they're going to keep working it and how extensively and if they're getting more leads. But if Belinda's hopeful, and like I said yesterday, there's some controversy, not controversy, I guess, some creators are a little less hopeful of what the statement that they pulled out, that the latest news article was, whether that was positive or not. I'm going to lean on positivity, because that's, you know, I just see language in there myself that hopefully I'm not being duped, but I would like to err on the side of belief that the police are going to continue to work this case. So, and that they are continually looking down a road that might bring them the answers that they need. And if they don't, I'm going to trust that they're going to come back to the public and ask for more tips. So I'm going to operate in that mindset for now until proven otherwise. So anyways, let's just go back. I'll start rereading it again. As the calendar turns, leaving 2025 in the rearview mirror, Belinda Gray is hopeful that the saga of the Sullivan children is close to being solved. Her two grandchildren, 6-year-old Lily and now 5-year-old Jack. Okay, let me just read it. I was keep using to, I've been correcting it, but they corrected it here. And her 4-year-old brother, Jack, who has since turned 5, went missing last May 2nd, said to have wandered off from their home in the Lansdowne Station. They have not been seen since, despite a massive search for the two kids involving hundreds of volunteers and police personnel. In a case that has captured the attention of Canadians from coast to coast, and unfortunately has led to a lot of online speculation about what exactly happened to the siblings, very little evidence has been reportedly found with respect to the whereabouts, even with the use of a cadaver dog, drones, and police helicopters, and multiple searches. Gray said that a widely reported guarantee from the RCMP Major Crime Unit this past week that the case will be solved has somewhat boosted her spirits. Well, I'm really happy to hear that. I'm hoping to get some good news one way or the other. She said in an interview from her home in Musquodobois. Gray has previously said she doesn't believe the children are still alive, but still wants to see the uncertainty come to an end, if for no other reason than to bring closure to those who care about the two children. It's given me hope that they're a little closer to figuring things out, she said. Gray, who is the paternal grandmother to the Sullivan siblings, said she is grateful that a lot of people have reached out to her to provide some support and a sense of positivity, just when you think the world is as evil as it can be. The children's biological father, Cody Sullivan, doesn't talk about the disappearance of his two children, she added. My son and I have never been really close. He's closer to his father. We talk occasionally, but most of the time he doesn't want to discuss Jack and Lilly at all. He says if he doesn't have to hear about it, he doesn't have to think about it, Gray said. Nova Scotia RCMP Criminal Operations Officer Dan Moreau told the media recently that the police have received more than 1,000 tips from the public, and more than 8,100 videos have been poured over, and 7 polygraph tests conducted on those closest to the children were passed, which only deepened the mystery. An RCMP spokesperson told The Advocate December 31st that the investigative team remains committed to pursuing every credible lead and determining with certainty what happened to Jack and Lilly, but would provide no further comment. Gray said the holiday season, coming nearly 8 months since her grandchildren vanished, was a somber and quiet one for her. I stayed home for the holidays. I couldn't bring myself to go out for Christmas this year, she said. Oh, that breaks my heart. That absolutely breaks my heart. That just breaks my heart. I know myself, I had a very hard Christmas. I know, that just breaks my heart. And that's just because I really missed my dad. I don't know that Christmas will be the same without my dad, and I can only imagine, because my dad died, unexpectedly of a massive heart attack and way too young, but nowhere near the circumstances under which Belinda is dealing with this with Jack and Lilly, and it's really, really sad. It's really, really sad. Okay. So what I thought I would do, but I'll leave it to you to decide. I thought what we would do is I was going to cover Gus Lamont too, by the way. I'm just going to bring that up right now here. There's quite a few I found quite a bit on Gus updates. Put a 1 in the chat below if you would like to continue to cover Gus Lamont. Gus Lamont from Australia. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Let me read that. 1. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. And how do you feel about the new couple? I know as well. Chores around the house. No worries, Damien, honey. Yeah, they're all heartbreaking. It's brutal. Yeah, it is absolutely brutal. Gus Lamont, for sure, then we'll redo that. And how do you feel about the Tepe couple? Do you want to cover the Tepe couple? The dentist and his wife that were murdered. The police have come out asking for help. They've identified a suspect. I know. I know. It's just brutal. Okay. So we'll do that. And what I might do, depending on how I feel. Okay, good. Do you want me? The children are hard enough. I know, honey. I know. Jesus, I know. Stella says, I know. Okay. So would you prefer, I haven't watched the story yet, but yeah. It's a sad one. Like I said, I was going to start, I just not feeling well enough. I kind of changed the plan around like 3 times today. So I was going to do it as a separate live because I wasn't sure how long I'd be able to last today. But I kind of am feeling like I need a mental. How do you feel about if we cover a little bit of one of them just now before we go into Jack and Lily? Or do you want to just stick to the plan and just Jack and Lily and I can come on and do a live later? Well, it's it's not that I changed my mind, it's that I was coughing up a lung and I literally felt so sick I was throwing up in the middle of the night. Whatever you want, says Stella. Okay. That I whew, I'm like when I cough, I get pretty dizzy. I get pretty dizzy. So let's cover the couple. We'll start with the couple and then we'll go into Jack and Lily. Jack and Lily, says my army. Been sick for a week. I know, we got snow here yesterday. Better to take breaks. I know. Okay, well, let's just watch a little bit about the dentist, and then we'll go back into Jack and Lily. There's just not a lot to cover with Jack and Lily. So let's cover this dentist. Come on. We'll read this first and we'll see, okay? We'll read this first and we'll see. You got sick too, honey? You're sick too? Yeah, I know. I know. It's like the lingering. You do, you girl, says Wendy. Oh, it's not that I wanted to change my mind. I'm really trying to be consistent. I'm just having a very hard time breathing today, and I'm sick. So we'll see. I'm going to just introduce it. I really do want to cover this case. I'll tell you my theory, but I mean, what do I know? But so far, my little spidey sense says. So this is the apparent cause of death revealed for the dentist wife found slain at home with crying children inside. So sad. The young children were found unharmed inside the home with Spencer and Monique Tepe's bodies, if you can imagine. So what we know so far, according to People, Spencer Tepe and his wife Monique Tepe, I don't know if it's pronounced Tepe or Tepe, were found dead inside their Ohio home on December 30th. Authorities are investigating their deaths as homicides. Investigators have not yet named a suspect, rather, or a person of interest in the case. Well, they do now. We'll watch that video. Authorities in Ohio have disclosed the apparent causes of death for a slain Ohio couple whose bodies were found in their home last week, but the official coroner's report remains pending. Spencer Tepe and his wife, Monique Tepe, I'm going to pronounce it Tepe, were found slain in their Columbus home on December 30th by police responding to calls for welfare checks on the couple. The office of the coroner, Nathaniel R. Overmeyer at the Franklin County Forensic Science Center, tells People the apparent causes of deaths for the couple were gunshot wounds. In an incident report reviewed by People, the Columbus Division of Police said the 37-year-old Spencer and the 39-year-old Monique were pronounced deceased at the scene. Their deaths are being investigated as homicides, as per the report. An official cause of death is yet to be released, pending other details required for the coroner's determination, such as toxicology reports, the coroner's office tells People. Police previously said Spencer suffered several gunshot wounds and Monique was shot in the chest once, according to a report previously cited by WSYX. The coroner's office declined to confirm this information, and directed People to Columbus Police. Investigators at the Columbus Division of Police did not respond to People's request for comment. The investigation began after Spencer's concerned coworker told police he did not show up for work, which was uncharacteristic of him, WSYX previously reported. It sounds personal. It does sound personal, Stella. It sure does. A friend of Spencer who had also arrived to check the couple told the 911 dispatchers that he could hear the couple's children crying inside the house. I can hear the kids inside. I think I heard one yell, the caller said, according to the dispatch audio, but we can't get in. Spencer and Monique were known among loved ones for their warmth, kindness, and dedication to building a life rooted in love, their family said in a statement following their killings. They were extraordinary people whose lives were filled with love, joy, and a deep connection to others. Read part of the statement shared with people by Spencer's brother-in-law, Rob Misley. We are heartbroken beyond words, read the statement, adding to the family, is committed to seeing this tragedy fully and fairly brought to justice. So investigators have yet to announce a person of interest or a suspect in the case. They're urgently are urging anyone with information to contact the Columbus Police Homicide Unit at 614-645-4730 or Central Ohio Crime Stoppers at 614-461-TIPS, which is 8477. Okay, let's watch a little bit more on these. I know. It's very, very sad. It's very, very sad. We'll watch a little bit more. We'll watch a little bit more here. We'll watch Brian Enton. Let's watch this. It's pretty sad for sure. Hang on. Actually, before I watch that, sorry, y'all. I wasn't planning on doing this. Let's put this one up. Because they have asked the public, you never know, someone in Canada here or whoever might know, they're narrowing down the timeline based on this video camera footage seen outside their home. So let's watch this here now.
A story that has gained attention across the country. The hunt continues for the killer who took the lives of a Columbus couple just last week, just days before the new year. And tonight we're hearing from the family of the victims and getting a look at video of a person of interest in this case. Aaron Simonek has the very latest. Aaron.
Yeah, Rodney, Columbus police say they're working diligently to solve this case, receiving numerous tips to help with the investigation. We'll show you this new surveillance video released Monday night, a potential person of interest. As the investigation nears its 1 week mark, police potentially getting closer to pinpointing a suspect.
Columbus police believe Spencer and Monique Tepe were murdered on the second floor of their Wineland Park home between the hours of 2 and 5 a.m. the morning of December 30th. This video released Monday evening showing a man walking near the Tepe's home sometime within those 3 hours with his hood up and his head down. This is the only video released to media of any kind of evidence that could lead detectives to a suspect.
I still see, these images of Spencer, pictures that people are sending me, and it's like, he's not gone. There's no way he's gone. There's no way Monique's gone. Like that can't be possible.
Rob Misley says Spencer and Monique Tepe were two of the most admirable people in his life. Their family and the nation stunned as all eyes remain on the investigation.
And she just, started hyperventilating, and it took a minute to figure out, what was happening. And then from there, it was just like kind of an instant realization that all of our entire lives are never going to be the same again.
The Tepes would have celebrated their 5-year wedding anniversary in just a few weeks. Misley says their children, 4 and 1, are in good care of family, along with their family dog.
How do you tell a 4-year-old that, she's never going to see her parents again? It's just awful, but we've been giving them all of our love.
Misley describing Monique as warm, charming, and strong. Spencer known as calm, steady, and kind. With funeral arrangements in the works, investigators following the case closely. No interview was made available to ABC6 on Monday.
We'd rather have it done right instead of fast. And we understand that these kind of things are process, and there's, you know, a lot of moving parts and pieces.
A loving couple, 2 young children left behind with plenty of unanswered questions.
And what is your message to the person behind this?
This person didn't just take 2 lives, right? They took a son and a daughter.
Just for the record, this gentleman here, we'll watch another quick clip because I can see your comments in the chat that are going to address the kids here. This is the gentleman here. They have got the kids with them now, is the brother of Spencer. Not the brother, the brother-in-law of Spencer. He is married to the deceased dentist's sister. Does that make sense? The gentleman you see on the screen here, the kids were with them. Sorry, they've been moved to another family member, but the kids were with them. We'll watch a quick clip on that because I see you asking about the kids. The gentleman on the screen here is Spencer's, the deceased dentist's brother-in-law. In other words, he's married to Spencer's, the deceased sister. So let's just keep watching for a second here.
A brother and a sister, and an aunt and an uncle, cousins. And they obviously took 2 beautiful souls who are just lovely parents.
Now, a major question also still remains tonight. Why would someone do this? If you or anyone you know might have information to help investigators, you can stay anonymous. Reach out to Crime Stoppers at 614-461-TIPS or Columbus Police. For now, on your side, Aaron Simonek, ABC 6 News.
So yeah, so this person, they had come out and said that they were zeroing in, no, dad's sister's husband. Dad's sister's husband of the kids. But they're coming out saying that this is, they had come out and said that they were specifically asking for camera footage between 2 and 5 in the morning. And I believe it's because of this snapshot that they now have, which is close to the home of this gentleman walking between 2 and 5 a.m. on the day they were murdered. Okay, so let's watch a couple more here, okay? Let me pull up. Whoops. Not that one. Let me pull up, I think is this one. Yeah. I thought it was okay, let's watch.
Suburban American towns left in shock this morning, working to make sense of a pair of grisly crimes targeting beloved members of their community. In Ohio, a young couple gunned down with their 2 children. Young children just feet away. The shooter still at large this morning. Then in North Carolina, police say they have a suspect in custody accused of brutally murdering a school teacher. News Nation's Mills Hayes joins us live with the latest on these 2 developing investigations. Mills, just awful. Let's start in Ohio. The search is now ramping up for the gunman who killed Spencer and Monique Tepe. What do you know?
That's right, Marky. And they just released a new video. Police ramping up their search for the shooter who killed the young couple. Their 2 young children in the house when it happened. And Columbus police releasing new video showing a person of interest walking in an alley near the Tepe's home sometime between 2 and 5 in the morning when investigators believe that the killings occurred. Police are asking for any info that could identify this person. And the couple, Spencer and Monique Tepe, were discovered with multiple gunshot wounds just after 10 in the morning after Spencer's coworkers called police when he didn't show up for work at the dentist office he worked at.
We're very, very concerned because this is very out of character. And we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing.
Their 2 young children, just 4 and 1 years old, and their family dog were found at the scene unharmed. They are now staying with family members who say they're dealing with all the emotions, disbelief, anger, and sadness, of course.
We were just with them for Christmas, and just seeing her and how much the kids loved her and how much she loved kids. You know, it was awesome. You know, we ended up gathering at Spencer's parents' house very quickly, and it's just like, we're all there because, you know, him and his wife were murdered, but we're also all expecting them to walk right through the door.
Police say that they have not recovered a firearm and say that there were no clear signs of a forced entry, Marky.
Just horrific. It makes me sick for those children too, Mills. Okay, keep us posted there. Then the other murder investigation that you're also following, this one in...
Okay, we're not going to continue to watch this. Let's watch another video. I've just decided unilaterally here, I'm going to change the thumbnail after since I'm feeling a little better. I decided we're going to cover a little bit more of it. Okay, and then we will go to absolutely Jack and Lilly. But Jack and Lilly, at this point, there's nothing new. It's all just sort of reviewing of old stuff, which doesn't mean it's not important. It's just, as I said on this channel this year, I really want to start covering other cases. This is it's going to give us more insight. This is another interview about the dentist Spencer. I don't know if it's Tepe or Tepe or his wife Monique Tepe. I'm going to listen to how she pronounces it.
Let's turn to your top story as a killer is on the loose in Ohio. Police in Columbus searching for whomever killed a respected dentist and his wife. Dr. Spencer Tepe and his wife Monique were shot to death in their home while their 2 young kids were inside.
What's the emergency there? Police or medical?
Maybe both, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of doing the
We had a call out there. They knocked on the front door and back door multiple times, and there was no answer.
Yeah, no answer. I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell, but we can't get in. At this point, I don't know if I need to break the door in or just get in the house or what. So.
Okay, were you out there when the police was out there?
I wasn't. I just got here about 5 minutes ago.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll send them back out to you.
Officers discovering the couple's bodies Tuesday after a welfare check was requested by colleagues of Dr. Tepe's. Now, the children were found in the house unharmed. Thank goodness for that. Investigators say there were no signs of forced entry at the house, and there was no weapon at the scene, no firearm. So investigators have ruled out the possibility that this was a murder-suicide. The concern began when Dr. Spencer Tepe missed work for the first time that morning, apparently. His colleagues becoming concerned, calling 911. Moments later, a friend arrives at the house and discovered the gruesome scene.
The body, our friend wasn't answering his phone. We just did a one shift. We just came here, and he appears dead.
Okay.
His blood. He's laying next to his bed, off of his bed, in his blood. I can't get closer to see more than that.
Okay, you can tell he's obviously not breathing or anything.
Yeah.
Is it like how to does he look like?
It doesn't show.
Keep listening because there's going to be a turn here in a surprising. Good morning, Krista. Nice to see you, honey. There's going to be a surprising comment coming up with respect to this call. Okay. There's 2 things about this call I wanted to comment on. One of them was in another clip, which I haven't got lined up here, but I'll just explain it to you. He didn't show up for work at 9 o'clock. So this is his employer calling saying, I think this guy's out of state. I'm not sure. No, that's the guy that's local. But their coworkers calling saying he didn't show up for work at 8 o'clock. So they're calling at 9. Yeah, no forced entry, right? But what was interesting that I wanted to comment on, and we can comment a little bit. Leanne, have you covered Jack and Lilly Filicide? They said it was a bathtub water. You covered Jack and J and L Filicide. They said it was a bathtub of water left in the trailer. No, I haven't, honey. But can we stay focused, Michelle, on what we're talking about, honey? If you want to come back out, go out and come back in. We're going to get to Jack and Lilly in a little bit. I doubt they would leave water in the trailer for evidence, but I could be wrong, Michelle. I mean, it could be wrong. But let's talk about that when we get to Jack and Lilly, honey, okay? So right here we've got, and I can show you the clip if you're interested, or the report rather. But it's okay, honey. No worries. It's okay. I'm just trying to I have enough ADHD. I don't need anybody else taking me off track. It's okay. And this is why I don't like changing the plan ahead of, like, at the last minute, but because I'm not feeling well, I kind of screwed up this stream again today. The children have been left unharmed. Yes. So I'll pull that up as well. I thought I had the right clip there, but it didn't. I'm trying to find the one that shows that the clip where he was interviewed and they were left unharmed, and he doesn't believe that they saw anything, but I'll try to find that while we watch this. But what happened that I want to talk about right here is actually quite upsetting, because they first call 911, okay? And I can pull it up if you want. They first call 911, and the dispatcher is not very interested. Well, she says on the 911 call, "Do you want me?" And I'll state this, and then you tell me if you want me to go find this clip first. It's going to take us a much longer live today, but if you're interested, I will do it. That they called, and the dispatcher the first time around, the 911 operator, the audio was released, was very like, well, people don't show up to work all the time. Like, what's the concern? Because they're asking for a wellness check, and the dispatcher is like, so what? And so they call back and say, can you please go and do a wellness check? I guess they had already done a wellness check. Yeah. Yeah, and I want to talk about that because remember we heard that in the Idaho 4 case? We heard that in the Idaho 4 case where the kids are screaming and the dispatcher's like, shut up and calm down. I can't hear you and stop talking over each other. And like, biatch, did you maybe get the hint that there's a trauma going on here? Like, honest to God. But then not only one failure, okay, that they don't think there's enough cause to call in because he didn't show up for work. The cop goes to the house, doesn't go inside, knocks on the door, and leaves going, everything's been okay. Everything's checked. No problem here. No problem here. And not then, until after that, do the employees go out, and then now what you're hearing is them calling after their third or fourth call, the 911. Yeah, he was a dentist. They go out to the house and hear the kids. And the cop had already been there to do the wellness check. So I say this with love. I say this with love. But having been, that's one of the things as a coach that you look at. Like every day, I know. Do you want me to go get that clip? I will go get that video if you want to. Lucky for the babies, somebody checked. Now, no kidding. No kidding. And I understand like not every call and everything, but this one isn't just, we believe you, sis Marie. I'm just mad because here's the thing. I'm going to go on a little rant warning, okay? Just my opinion as a coach. We wake up every day and we go to work. And we decide when we go to work, are we going to give a crap about what we do when we go to work? Or do we not give a crap about what we do? And I understand that some of us have jobs that maybe don't feel super inspiring. This is where the coach, is going to come in, okay? But if you don't like your job, give it up to someone else who gives a shit. Because in my opinion, if people just went to work and actually gave a rat's you-know-what, ASS, about their job, we would be in a much stronger world, in a much better place. Imagine when you called your bank, or you called your utility provider, or you called customer service on Amazon, or you called for anything. If the person on the other line, and you can all go to some memories right now and think about when somebody cared about their job and the service you got versus the person that doesn't give a shit about their job. And there's good and bad in everything. And if you are a cop and you are a dispatcher and you don't give a shit about your job, I'm going to suggest get out of it. Go find another job. Go find another job. You are a cop who was asked to do a wellness check, and less than an hour later and 3 phone calls later, the same people that called 911 3 times had to call again because they heard the screaming and crying kids inside the house where their 2 murdered parents lay. And 911, you fucked it up pretty bad. Just saying. Just saying. If that cop actually gave a shit. Now here, how do you think that was translated to him, though? I don't know. Did the dispatcher's snarky little fucking attitude affect his ability to maybe go open-minded that maybe there was something wrong here? Did he listen to see if he could hear kids crying inside? People, that's the problem. Nowadays, people don't give a flying F about anybody other than themselves. Yeah. And I had to talk about it because we talk about systemic failures here on this channel. We talk about systemic failures. And thank God for these people. Now, you're going to hear a different perspective about these people in a second. But Jesus H. Because here's the thing I want to say. Here's the thing I want to say, because I know this as a coach, okay? And I don't mean to cut anybody down, but the tenacity that these people had is rare. The tenacity that these people had to keep calling, to drive over, something felt wrong, was rare, is rare, okay? Most people are so sick and tired of trying to fight against the justice system and the institution and people that don't give a rat's ass that they just give up because it's like banging your head against a brick wall. Anyways, enough said. I'm probably going on too long about the rant, but I had to comment because it's actually incredible. It's actually quite incredible. And I'd like to hear a statement from the police officer, and I'd like to hear what kind of a supposed wellness check he did. I'd like to hear that. And I'm sure the parents, or the family rather, of these 2 parents who were dead inside with a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old crying, left alone, I'm sure the family of these kids and these deceased parents, murdered family, would probably like to hear an explanation too.
I get what. Okay. All right. I understand. Okay.
So what happened here? No items taken from the home, no signs of forced entry, no firearm in the house. Let's dig into this. Who might have done these murders? Let's bring in former FBI special agent. She's retired after many years of service. Jennifer Coffin-Daffer. She's also a firearms expert and has expertise in the area of gangs as well. Also want to welcome in private investigator with Black Ops, Private Investigators. He's formerly.
Okay, and you're going to hear another theory here, and then I'm going to rant a little bit more about why this was important as well for this 911 dispatcher to actually pay better attention. And I'm going to show you the statistics and what we're talking about here in a second. Keep listening.
Served with the NYPD and our military, Manuel Gomez. Good morning and Happy New Year to you both. I'm so thrilled that we have you both here to dig into this one. Jen, I'll begin with you. Your thoughts when we think about where this investigation should go and who you would want to be interviewing, how you would work this case. Talk to us about that, if you would, please.
Right, Julie. Well, when you look at this case, there are some things that really stand out. First of all, the fact there was no entry, forced entry, no items stolen. There was no indication that anything was toppled or there were any issues. So that tells me that likely this is somebody that this couple would have known. Also, if you look at the preciseness and accuracy of the shots, you have 2 shots to him, 1 shot to her. Also, there was a combination lock on that door. This would lead me to wonder who had access to that combination lock. I found it very interesting that the wedding that they had was at this home. That would mean possibly many people had access to that combination lock. In addition, that 911 call, Julie, that originated sort of strangely in my view. Who calls 911 when your employee just doesn't show up for work for a few hours? I found that a little bit odd as well. So I would start with all of those.
So Jennifer is kind of in alignment, but keep listening. No, it's okay, honey. No worries. Don't worry. Love you. Don't worry. No worries, Michelle. It's okay, honey. It's not your fault. It's my fault because you came here thinking we were talking about Jack and Lilly, and I just added some content. So don't worry. We're gonna get to Jack and Lilly. And just like I said, I've been trying to cover more cases, and I wasn't feeling well. So originally I was gonna cover Gus, but that's actually longer. So I might just do a separate Gus stream than covering this. There's so much information that I found on Gus Lamar. So yeah, don't worry. Let's just keep going. But listen to this. Keep listening to this. So Jennifer finds it strange that they're calling an hour later. Keep listening.
Witnesses and individuals that knew this couple.
Jen, all excellent points. I want to dovetail from your last point. We have that 911 call. So the owner of the dental practice, what Jen was just referencing, he's based in Florida, and he's placing this 911 call at 9 a.m.
It was him. Okay, keep listening.
Tuesday morning. Let's listen.
Did you receive information they may have been involved in an accident, or?
No, ma'am. I just know that he is he is always on time, and he would contact us if there was any issues whatsoever. And I just don't know how else to say this. Like, we're very, very concerned because this is very out of character, and we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing.
Okay, again, 9 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. I looked up that dentist's website for the practice hours, and it says on Tuesdays they begin at 8 a.m. There are other dentists in the practice as well. Manuel, what do you say about this? Is that suspicious to you that there were calls of such grave concern at 9 a.m. requesting the welfare check so early?
Well, first of all, I want to say my condolences to the Tepe family and to all the families who have lost their loved ones here. Second of all, I do agree with Jennifer, and that is that the boss, to me, is a possible suspect. But what's even more of a possible suspect is the second caller who goes there and describes the puddling of the blood, the body on the floor, and so forth. Clearly, this was a targeted murder. Clearly, the aggression was mostly spent at the husband. This is why he has numerous shots in his body. But the reason why the wife was killed was most likely they didn't mean to kill her, but they came downstairs, saw her, and says, all right, shoot her in the chest, and that's it. The children are alive because of the innocence and because they're really not witnesses. But do I believe that the possible suspects are possible that boss or possible that person that was describing the bodies on the floor after the cops already been there? Highly suspicious. But this case is going to go on the digital footprint, and that's what's going to take to bust open this.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? They are both suspicious of the boss that called the 911. They are suspicious of the guy that called 911. Okay. So now listen to this, okay? Because I've heard this before. So we're doing this live here. We're doing this live. Hang on. I'm just trying to... how often does the murderer call 911? %30 of the murders. Let me just remove this. I want to try to educate ourselves every time we have a case that recover. There is something to glean and learn, okay? A lot. Yeah, a lot. Enough so that my point is that 911 operator had to know these statistics, has to know that 30% of the murderers call the 911. 30%. That's almost 1 in 3 chances that the person that you're hearing on the other end of the phone is the fucking murderer. Excuse my language. So why are you dismissing the call, ma'am? If you, do you see where I'm going here, people? If you know statistically as a 911 operator, and don't tell me you're not trained on these statistics, that there's a 30% chance that the person calling is involved in the crime, you should be listening and asking questions and probing. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. So here's what it says on Google, on AI. In homicide investigations, researchers have identified patterns regarding how frequently perpetrators contact emergency services to report their own crimes. Prevalence rate: approximately 30% of murderers call emergency services to report their own crime, typically while pretending to be an innocent bystander or a discoverer of the body. Motivations for calling. Offenders often call to control the initial narrative of the crime by being the first to report. They attempt to project an innocent image and steer investigations away from themselves. Behavioral indications of guilt. Studies of emergency services calls have noted the distinct differences between innocent and guilty callers. Victim focus. 67% of innocent callers ask for help for the victim compared to only 34% of guilty callers. Self-focus. About 7% of the callers in one study requested help only for themselves rather than the victim. In that specific sample, all such callers were found to be guilty. Verbal patterns. Guilty callers often provide rambling, confusing information or use minimizing language, such as repeating the word just, significantly more often than innocent callers, the average of 4 times versus 2.5 times. Detection challenges. Despite these behavioral clues, more than 80% of lies in such calls go undetected by standard dispatchers, as many indicators of guilt are subtle and require forensic analysis. Detection challenges. I'm going to repeat this because it's proving my point, and I didn't even Google it before I made my point. You saw me Google it. Detection challenges. Despite these behavioral cues, more than 80% of lies in such calls go undetected by standard dispatchers. So, does that 911 call operator need to be retrained? Because this is the failure. If these are the statistics that 911 knows, then you're telling somebody people don't show up for work all the time, sir, is probably not the appropriate response. Just saying. Just saying. Let's go back to the video we were playing. I'm going to let my lungs do a break, and we'll keep listening for a few minutes.
And who it was.
Definitely. Great points, Manuel. So, to your point, the digital footprint. So let's just say, as an investigator, it sounds like you both would like to interview these people who were very active that morning, calling concerned, going to the house. Jen, talk to us, please, about how you go about that. Do you ask these people if they'll willingly turn over their devices and their communications?
Well, I would first start, of course, with the deceased devices and communications. Also, I want to see all this video. There's a Ring camera. We know there's a public camera across the street. I would believe that there are multiple Ring cameras in this neighborhood. This neighborhood, by the way, is very interesting because it's in really a bad part of town that they're trying to revive. So this house was a $700,000 townhome, but essentially it's surrounded by really bad neighborhood. So a lot of cameras and so on are going to be there. As far as interviewing these possible witnesses, possible suspects, that is really ground one for me. I'm going to go there and in person interview them and ask if they'll take polygraphs and ask if they'll give up their devices. You can tell a lot by what people will and will not do.
Yes, Jen. So let's explore another possibility that this might have been someone looking to do a crime there, whether it's they intend to go in and burglarize the home. They intend to just do a killing, maybe per gang initiation, something like that. Manuel, what do you say about that? Do you think it's possible this could have been more random than personal?
I think it's possible, but highly unlikely. And the fact that you said before, they didn't steal anything. They didn't take nothing from the house. Okay, this was a targeted murder. This was targeted to that husband. And I have to say to you, this is a very good looking couple. She's a beautiful woman. He's a handsome guy. Okay. Either one of them might have had some type of affair or somebody who liked them. Like Jennifer said, this house has digital locks on the door, which you don't need a key. All you just need is the digital combination. And the fact is, not only did it have ring camera in front of the house, which covers about a 70-degree angle, but it also has cameras in back. When I saw the backyard, I saw 2 ring cameras in the back. This house is fairly new, so the modernization of the equipment with it is going to be key in this investigation. But I do believe that there is someone that they know that was possibly in a relationship and so forth. And like Jennifer said, I would start with those 2 key individuals. Why do you call? Because somebody misses one day of work? I have a problem with that.
Yeah, I hear you, my friend. Jen.
It wasn't one day, it was just an hour. And personally, I don't know if that makes the guy guilty, but I know these 2 are certainly concerned about it. And I would have cameras all over. No way. If I lived in that neighborhood, no way. Is it that bad? Is it that bad? The regenified neighborhoods that are so hip to, no way. Yeah, there's 0 missing. They're saying the husband was the target. And it's either, I'm going to say it's either a business relationship of the husband's or maybe someone that loved the wife, had an affair with the wife or was in love with the wife, because I just find it interesting. She got the heart. That seems like personal, right to the heart. He got like the anger and she got the heart. Now, was that maybe the heart because it was quick and the anger was directed to him? I don't know. I'm certainly definitely not a cop. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. But it would seem to me either somebody in business with the husband, or maybe a man who was in love with the wife and mad at the husband, had an affair maybe with the man's wife. Exactly. That's what I was thinking originally. That's exactly what I was thinking originally. But now I'm starting to wonder, with their analysis of the boss calling 911, could the boss and him have had, because they keep saying he was such a studious dentist and loved his work. Was there a was he was running the practice but didn't own it? I don't know if he was running it entirely on his own, but he certainly had a big part in it. Could all over there just personal choice, just saying I'd never choose to live in. Okay, interesting. I know. Hello. I was sorry, Stella. You've been in here a while. I thought it was someone else. Like quick glance coming in. No, I know. So it's really curious. This is almost over. We've got another one.
Last point from you, please. You have done service work with the FBI, infiltrating gangs. You've studied them. Does this look at all like gang activity to you?
Capital, no. No, not in the least. Typically, when you see some sort of gang activity like this that would either be for the purpose of robbing or for the purpose of a gang initiation, you see a spray and pray tactic. You would see so much damage. You would see items stolen and taken from that residence. They just don't have the understanding to be low profile in what they do. This is a low profile murder, meaning the person who went in there has minimally some expertise with their weapon to hit kill shots right away. And they were able to get in and get out without being identifiable. I would guess that they're going to be totally covered up. And that's why police are asking for more camera footage.
Excellent insight from you both. Jennifer Coffindaffer, Manuel Gomez, thank you.
Okay, let's get to one more and then we'll go into Jack and Lilly here. Krista says, I saw that up in Cleveland. Landfill flips a bad house, lots of potential. Then a rich man buys it and keeps it, raises the property. Yeah, I know. I thought I heard her boss. No, it's him, his boss. His boss. What if the dentist wanted to get out on his own? Yeah. I mean, who friggin' knows, right? But okay, let's watch this one. We got another interview here that Brian Etten does, and I love Brian. He always does a great job. And let's listen in.
Appreciate all the support. In this episode, I am digging into the latest on this very mysterious case out of Ohio of a dentist and his wife who were found murdered, shot dead inside their home, and their little kids were inside the house. It's just, it's a terrible, terrible story. There's a lot of theories floating around. I'm going to get into this episode why it appears it is likely not random. I'll explain in this episode of Brian Etten. All right, guys. So the very mysterious murder of an Ohio dentist and his wife in their home while their young children were there, it is sparking obviously a lot of concern and also a lot of questions about who may have done this. And there are some theories here, and I'm going to get to those with my criminologist guest in just a minute. But first, let me tell you the latest on the case.
Oh yeah, they look incredibly happy, and that's what makes it so sad. And if I could find a very short clip after this one from the family member, that's what has them so stumped, because this was their personalities. They were always smiling and happy. They looked to be incredibly in love. Got married 5 years ago. But you know, hey, would we really know what's going on in the background, right? But it's the family states how shocking it is, because these pictures truly display their genuine characters all the time.
Spencer Tepe, a dentist, and his wife Monique, they were found on Tuesday after a welfare check at their home in Columbus, Ohio. Their 2 small children were found alive inside the house. Spencer was found shot multiple times. Monique was shot 1 time in the chest, according to investigators. So Spencer was shot multiple times. Monique was shot 1 time. Officers found no signs of forced entry, which is one of the mysterious parts of this. And there was no gun found at the scene, but there were shell casings that were found. Police have made it clear that this is not being investigated as a murder-suicide, which makes sense. They found no gun at the scene, so it does not appear to be a murder-suicide. The children are 4 years old and 1 year old. Yeah, I mean, it's just so sad to think that they were there when their parents were murdered. I'm going to play you some of the 911 calls in a second from concerned coworkers of Spencer, the dentist. But again, it's so sad, because you're going to hear in the 911 calls that one of the coworkers says he heard one of the kids crying inside the house and could see Spencer's body. While police don't have a murder weapon, they did find 9mm shell casings at the scene. So that's significant, and that could really help with the investigation. Now, as for those 911 calls, first let me play you the call from Spencer's boss, who was concerned because Spencer did not show up to work. Listen to this.
Police, Tech 107.
Yes, I would like to ask for a wellness check on an individual at their home. Well, I'm currently in the state of Florida. I'm on vacation, but this individual, Spencer, works with me, and he did not show up to work this morning, and we cannot get a hold of him or his family.
He didn't show up to work?
Correct.
Okay. Does he have medical problems? Or?
Okay. Like, listen, she doesn't sound too concerned.
No, and he's been reliable, and we cannot get in touch with him, his wife, his family, anybody that lives in that house.
Okay.
There's 2 kids in the home. I'm in Florida. I own the business. I was informed by my employee that he was not at work, and he runs the office.
Did you receive information?
I own the business. I was informed by my employees he was not at work. He runs the business. We just read the article that says that if the murderer is calling in, because he could have, we don't know, could have been him on the camera footage we just saw. We have no idea, but that Jennifer Coffendorfer and the other cop are very seriously interested, and they said they would be wanting to talk to this man. And we just read that 30% of the people that call are the suspects, the criminal themselves. So what we heard was the word "just" being used, and the focus on the guilty people being on them and not the victim. Is he calling because his employee didn't show up to work? That's what I want us to listen here. Or is he calling because he's concerned about this guy? How many times has he used the word "just"? He says he's in Florida. Yeah, exactly. That's very interesting too, Donna. Let's listen.
They may have been involved in an accident, or?
No, ma'am. I just know that he is he is always on time, and he would contact us if there was any issues whatsoever. And I just don't know how else to say this. We're very, very concerned because this is very out of character. And we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing.
Okay. We will send somebody over as soon as we have an officer available, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
And there's also a 911 call, several of them actually, from coworkers who actually went to the house apparently they were just like panicked. He didn't show up to work, totally uncommon for him. And so they just decided to drive over to the house, and then they also called 911. Listen to this.
Our boss did not report for work. We haven't been able to get a hold of him for 3 hours. We are on site, and we can hear.
Okay, I just talked to somebody there.
Okay, I'm just making sure somebody called.
Yeah, I just got a call from somebody and sent it back up for dispatch.
Okay.
Are you there? Because you're not showing that you're at the
No,
location.
I'm en route there.
911, what's the location of your emergency? Okay, what's the emergency there, police or medical?
Maybe both, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of doing the
We had a call out there. They knocked on the front door and back door multiple times, and there was no answer.
Yeah, no answer. I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell, but we can't get in. At this point, I don't know if I need to break the door in or just get in the house or what. So.
Okay, were you out there when the police was out there?
I wasn't. I just got here about 5 minutes ago.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll send them back out to you.
Okay, thanks.
Bye. We've got several calls on that. What's changed since the last person I talked to?
There's a body.
There's a body inside?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get you on the line with the medic, okay? Stay on the line.
All right, I mean, that's what's going on. There's a body. Our friend wasn't answering his phone. We just did a wellness check. We just came here, and he appears dead. Okay. There's blood. He's laying next to his bed, off of his bed, and there's blood. I can't get close.
How did they get in the house? How did they get into the house? But yeah, you're right, Stella. They can hear the kids. The cop knocked on the door, apparently heard no answer, and decided it was safe and left. And meanwhile, the kids and the dog are inside. Yeah. Glad these guys were persistent.
You can tell he's obviously not breathing or anything. Yeah. Is it like kind of like huddled, like, you know, does he look like? It doesn't look huddled. I can't lie. Okay. All right. Understand. Okay. And then when was the last time somebody spoke to him? Like yesterday, I suppose. Yesterday. Okay. Yeah. How old is he? 37.
Yeah, I know, Veronica. But if they could do it, could the cop not figure it out? That's my point. You know? How could they do that and the cop didn't? Going in and I'm 57, it's so suspicious. I know, but that's my point. Like, care about your job, man. Care about your job.
Do you like a drug user or anything like that? No. Okay. All right. Just because that's a really young age. Yeah, I understand. Okay. All right. We're on our way.
So the Tepe family released a family statement on behalf of everyone in the family. And very sad. It says, our family is devastated by the tragic and senseless loss of Spencer and Monique. They were extraordinary people whose lives were filled with love, joy, and deep connection to others. Spencer was a devoted and proud father, a loving partner, and a friend to everyone he met. He was intelligent, warm, and endlessly welcoming. A graduate of the Ohio State University and a member of the American Dental Association, Spencer was fluent in Spanish and deeply committed to serving others. He gave back through Big Brothers Big Sisters. He was a huge Bengals and Buckeyes fan and lived life with energy, laughter, and generosity. Monique was a loving and patient and joyful mother whose warmth defined her. With a background in childhood education, she brought care and intention into everything she did. She was an excellent baker, a thoughtful planner, and someone who found joy in bringing people together. Her kindness made people feel instantly at home. Together, Spencer and Monique.
Well, and I don't know, maybe if they would, when they, I don't really know. But maybe the first time if they had called and said they have kids and were worried about the kids, maybe that would have had a different response. I don't really know. But it's just, again, I'm not trying to be a biatch. It's just, there's failures everywhere. And I understand there's budgets and stuff, but a lot of these failures are just attitudinal failures about not giving a crap about your job and forgetting what you do is important and the little things matter. That's the end of my rant.
He shared a beautiful, strong, and deeply happy relationship. They loved to travel, to laugh, and to build a life rooted in love. They were proud parents of 2 beautiful children and their beloved golden doodle, and they created a home filled with warmth, happiness, and connection. We are heartbroken beyond words. While no outcome can ever undo this loss, our family is committed to seeing this tragedy fully and fairly brought to justice and to honoring Spencer and Monique by protecting the future of the children they loved so deeply.
I'm joined now by Dr. Casey Jordan, a criminologist. I really appreciate you joining me, Dr. Jordan. It's nice to meet you. I haven't met you before. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
So what do you make of this situation in Ohio? You know, I was thinking when we had this set up to talk that maybe there would be some developments over the last couple of days, but there seems like there's been nothing. I mean, it's basically the same information as when we started covering this. Do you think police know more than they're letting on, or do you think this is really just like a whodunit situation?
It's one or the other. I mean, when you don't get enough information from the police, and we see this all the time, it can mean one of two things: that they are getting close and they don't want to tip their hand to the suspect, especially if that suspect is in the very inner circle of the victims and thinks that they're off scot-free. The police are going to keep that ruse going of, oh, we've got a manhunt going for the slayer, while in fact they are interviewing the friends and family of the victims and trying to gain their trust so that they can give them, if you will, enough rope to hang themselves with it when the time comes. The other scenario, as you mentioned, is it's a whodunit. They are clueless. We have no idea who this person could be. But that's in the world of criminology, that would be really unusual.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to remember this comment she's making. In the absence of information from the police, there's one of two things. And I'm going to ask you to keep this in mind for Jack and Lilly, but we're not going to talk about it now. I'm just bringing it to your attention because we're going to talk about it in Jack and Lilly after we're done. I got the other video on the update from the family, which is 5 minutes after this. So we got a half an hour of this and we're going to Jack and Lilly. But I want you to remember what she just said. In the absence of information from the police, one of two things. They are keeping their lips closed so they can nail the person who did it, or they have no clues. And I want you to tell me which one you think is applying with the RCMP in the Jack and Lilly case.
This was a 100% outlier stranger slaying, where somebody just randomly enters a house, kills two people, leaves the two children unharmed, and goes off into the night, leaving it looked like, the house locked and nobody the wiser. So I think that it's probably the former, that they have some idea of who this person might be. Let's hope they do. And that we might have a break in the case soon. But of course, the more they tell us, the more it compromises their ability to prosecute that case when the time comes. So we've got to let the police do their job.
And I guess, like you said, they might, if they do have a person of interest, I guess they may not want that person to know.
Correct. We see this all the time. I mean, I don't know how many of our listeners can remember back to Susan Smith. Susan Smith was a woman who killed her two children and blamed a black man for carjacking. And they just let her get on TV and talk. They just kept nodding their heads like they believed her story, while in fact they were.
Okay. I'm hoping this is what RCMP are doing with Daniel. Just saying. I'm just hoping and praying. Maybe I'm being naive, but I'm hoping and praying.
Doing a very thorough investigation, which they knew from the outset would lead back to Susan. But they just wanted to let her think, we are clueless. We're going to go look for that culprit, that black man who took your car, when in fact they knew all along it was her. And in the inner circle of family and friends, especially if you want to think about a different case, Christopher Watts in Colorado, they just kept letting him talk, about his missing wife and children while they found the girlfriend. Okay. So we see this all the time. Scott Peterson and Lacey Peterson, and the police just keep nodding while in fact they're getting closer and closer to making an arrest. So I think that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, and I saw it with Koberger too. I was in Idaho covering Koberger for months when it felt like they knew nothing, and we're actually being really hard on the police. Like, how do they know nothing? And everybody's freaked out, and the community is, on edge. And then when the probable cause came out, it turned out like, oh my gosh, all along
they knew
a ton of information, and they were making a lot of progress, and they just weren't telling anyone.
But they've got to get this evidence. I mean, the only news that has really come out lately is those 9mm shells, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. But they've got to find somebody who links back to that gun. So I think that's what they're working on right now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So he was shot. The dentist was shot multiple times, and the wife, according to police, was shot one time in the chest. What does that tell you?
Well, multiple times on the husband, in my mind, means that the husband was the primary victim and the wife was the secondary victim. That's overkill. That's unnecessary. That would probably indicate a level of rage or at least certainty. We want to make 100% certain that this guy is dead. And the wife was, ancillary. Just she would have, if they were killed in their beds, because indications are he was found next to his bed, that she needed to be silenced. She may have been shot first to make her quiet. And then if the husband woke up upon hearing that gunshot, he may needed to have been shot several times because he was fighting or rising or trying to attack the shooter. So multiple times really shows that I think that the husband was the primary victim. I hate to say it, because this family, by all accounts, loved each other, looking forward. This couple was going to have their 5-year anniversary. No one indicates any marital problems. And yet we have seen hundreds of times that even in the face of nothing wrong under the sun, something is going on behind the scenes. And I'm not saying we have any evidence of this, but very often this comes back to a love triangle. Or something else nefarious, like debts or financial ruin, or something was going on, I think, with the husband.
Or work.
Husband. We may find out it was the wife, but I think the husband was the primary target.
Well, and they just look so perfect in the pictures. I mean, we've seen it before in other cases, but you look at they just look like the most beautiful family, and he's a dentist. And I think that's one of the reasons this is getting so much attention, is it's like, well, what could have happened?
Well, I've got to tell you, when I first heard they were found and the police said it doesn't look like a murder-suicide, I was like, but it sounds like a murder-suicide. It sounds like, and I was trying to go with some, kind of potboiler mystery fictional plot. How could this have happened? Because murder-suicide would make sense, except for, of course, we all know there is no gun found at the scene. No gun.
I like her a lot too, Donna. I've never seen her before. I hope he brings her back on. I love her.
But I was thinking, is it possible that he was attacking her or hurting the children, or she found out about an affair and shot him in a rage and then was like, oh my goodness, what have I done? I cannot raise my children with them knowing I killed their father. And then somehow shot herself and secreted the gun or disposed of the gun in a way they would never find it to make it look like a homicide. I mean, that really is the stuff of novels. There is no evidence whatsoever without a gun on the scene that matches those 9mm shells. There is no evidence at all that this is a murder-suicide. Whoever did this took the gun with them. So we're back to square one. Who would have done this? Who would have shot both of them and left the children unharmed, which is key. I even thought, well, how old is the oldest child? They said under the age of 6. So I was thinking a 5-year-old may have found the gun and hid it. But we just don't have any evidence that a gun is on the scene. So murder-suicide is out the window.
I wonder if the kids were sleeping, because I think the really little one
It
obviously
looks like
wouldn't
a
be old
hit
enough
for
to give
sure.
the police any information. But a 5-year-old around that age could provide some kind of description.
Yes, and don't ever underestimate the ability of a 5-year-old to say what they know. We've seen 5-year-olds give incredibly important testimony when they have seen things. But I very much suspect, and they are not even releasing the time of death. They're not letting us know. Did it happen at midnight, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 6 a.m.? They're not letting us know that. That would help us know a lot more about who this culprit might be. And I think the children probably were sleeping, and at least the older one awoke to find this horrific scene, and that's why they heard screaming and crying from the child inside the house. But what that child remembers is going to be the trauma of discovering his or her parents dead. And with a child with trauma, they kind of fold in on themselves, and their brains, in the interest of self-preservation, just kind of squeegee out that memory. So they might remember hearing something, but
yeah, this might have been recorded, Donna, before the police came up with their surveillance video last night to look between 2 and 5 a.m. It could have been a neighbor too. Yeah, I know. I agree with you, Tinky and Happy Turtle. I'm thinking it's a hit. It was a hit job, but it could be wrong.
Probably can't tell time, won't know what time it was, and just will eventually forget everything, which is fine, about what they saw that morning, which is what we hope for.
So sad. Like the one friend / coworker who went by the house, heard the crying in the house, saw, like you mentioned, saw the dad on the ground, but also heard the crying of the kids. So you do have to imagine like what they must have been thinking, those kids.
I know. Yes. I mean, the children are, I think, in all of our hearts. Their lives will never be the same.
When we talk about the bullets, how important are those? I mean, there's testing they can do, right, to then track back to which gun those bullets came from?
Yes, with the ballistics, they will be able to match a gun to those shell casings. Now, this seems, okay, this killer was organized enough to take the gun with them, but not organized enough to pick up the shells. So that shows, even the best, most perfect murder has 10 to 20 to 100 mistakes, and the shells were the mistake. They will, if they find a gun of interest, be able to match it to those bullet casings. So that's going to be incredibly important evidence, that and DNA, if there's any DNA on the scene, but there could be none, absolutely none. I mean, if this person walked in, walked out, there's no footprints, there's no carpet that could have left a.
Yeah, and did they let this person in? Because this person either was let in or had a code, and presumably if it was in the middle of the night and they were sleeping, They had a code.
Good solid footprint that would indicate, is this a man's shoe, a woman's shoe, a boot, a snow, let's just hope the police have very carefully processed this scene. They have some DNA, but in a case like this, which is a gunsling where somebody was probably wearing gloves, it was cold out, may have taken their shoes off and were walking in their socks. I mean, there may be no DNA at the scene. So those bullet casings may be the best thing we have, unless we have some video evidence. So Brian, I noticed on the TV film crew footage that we saw a ring camera on the front of the door and a keypad on the front of the door. And that keypad could be the holder of the DNA, except that whoever came along and let themselves into the house because they said the friend was able to access the house. I'm thinking that they had the code. How many people pushed that keypad before they went and tested it for DNA, or fingerprints? That's going to be key too.
Just back to the bullet casings, that would be a pretty big mistake, wouldn't it? If you managed to get in, no forced entry, get away, why not just pick up the casings?
Because that's a time consumer. And once those, when the bullets are fired, especially at close range, even people who expect they know how they will feel might be surprised at how completely, it's the smell of the smoke, the sight of the blood and the spatter and literally the smell of copper in the air from that blood can be completely disorienting. They underestimate the sound, even with a silencer, of that. And the full adrenaline cascades on them of what they have done. And it's flight. They immediately want to get out of there. The panic sets in immediately. And in that panic, especially in the dark, it can be incredibly difficult to get on the floor and find those bullet casings, especially if they're under the bed or have jettisoned, to a far wall. You've got to have light. You've got to turn the lights on. The children may have immediately started crying because they heard the sound. Neighbors and dogs might start, lights might be going on. Dogs might be barking. They just get out. So this is a person who thought they had the situation under control, but surely a first-time homicide at that moment of impact, if you will, wanted to get out immediately. That's my best case scenario.
Well, and if it is someone who knew one of them, you have to wonder too, even if you go in just all amped up, once you start shooting people you knew and you make eye contact with them, and that could have caused the person to just want to get out of there.
And who knows, there could have been a scuffle. There could have been a standoff, if you will. They could have, the couple could have woken up and there could have been all kinds of scene going on before the shooting happened. I suspect this couple was killed while they were sleeping, but the crime scene will show whether or not there was actually some kind of, of scuffle in terms of, did they know this person was coming in? We don't know where the wife was found. We just have an indication that the husband was found next to the bed, indicating that he probably was shot in the bed, but we don't know where the wife was found. So more will be revealed over time.
And maybe the multiple gunshot wounds to the dad, to the dentist, to Dr. Spencer Tepe, maybe that means that he was about to fight back, or he didn't just immediately go down. Do you think?
Correct. Or if the wife was shot first, then very likely he would have bolted upright and attacked the shooter. And there was, maybe he had to be shot several times because he was awake and pumping with adrenaline and fighting off the attacker. And that is why it took more than one shot to if you will, take him down.
The one older child is actually 4. But a lot of people have been focused on the neighborhood. It's kind of an up and coming neighborhood. There's a lot of professionals that are moving in and redoing houses. Their house looks really nice. I think they paid around $700,000, but just a few streets away, it looks like a much rougher neighborhood. And some people are wondering, could someone have come in from over there to burglarize the house? But based on everything you said, I don't know, that doesn't really seem likely.
I think that if this was a situation where it was a burglary gone wrong, we would probably know. The police would be giving us kind of a profile of the person we're looking for. Was the place ransacked? Was anything taken? Just because there was no sign of forced entry doesn't mean that people haven't figured out how to hack a keypad, because it was a keypad on the front door of the house. So I do think that if this were a stranger homicide, somebody breaking in to steal, can I tell you just straight up, burglars do not go into houses in the middle of the night while a couple is sleeping with their children. There is so much risk associated with that, with people waking up. How does he know? Does Spencer have a gun and would shoot him?
Thanks, Donna. I was just commenting when she said burglars don't come in the middle of the night. They do, because we've heard cases before that they do, including one in Canada not so long ago where the guy was, thank you, the person knew them in the house. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I agree with the comments that the kids weren't shot. The kids probably in the middle of the night, kids were in bed, maybe didn't even hear anything until they woke up the next morning and looking for their parents. We're going to finish this off. We've got 6.5 minutes left to this interview. Then we're going to watch a 5-minute clip from the family, and then we're going to get into Jack and Lilly. It's going to be a longer stream today. Sorry, folks.
Children immediately wake up and start crying. Burglaries happen most often during the day while a couple is at work, while the people are away on vacation. And they usually happen before Christmas, not after Christmas. There is nothing to indicate that this was a burglary gone wrong. And I think if that were the scenario, the police would let us know that. However, so many people could have had the keypad code. If you think about it, when they say there's no sign of forced entry, just remember with a keypad, there wouldn't be. If somebody can figure out that code, hack that code, find that code, then there would be no sign of forced entry. You get inside,
I don't think
leave,
so.
and it relocks behind you. So I do think that is how somebody entered the home. And I think the police are really looking at everyone in that inner circle of friends and family who might have had the code or given it to somebody else.
Or maybe someone who knows them. It looked like an older house, knew that like one window doesn't lock. I mean, it'd be easy to slide open a window and then close. You know what I mean? There's ways to get in houses if you kind of know, have a little bit of intel.
Not only that, but I've got to tell you, as a criminologist, also a realtor, people don't change their codes. That keypad could have the same code on it for 10 or 15 years from the people who owned the house before they did. So there could be dozens of people who are not in the friends and family circle who know that code. Changing those codes when you buy a house can be really annoying if you don't have that, if you're not tech savvy and don't have the instruction booklet. So a lot of people just keep the same code.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that because people keep the same keys too. I've even been guilty of that. Like when, and I just sold the house and I'm pretty sure the people who bought it just kept the same. So you wonder like how many, iterations of people have the same key. It's kind of creepy to think about.
It is.
Yeah. What happened to me, y'all? It happened to me. My landlord admitted to giving the stalker my apartment key. I mean, this is serious shit, man. Serious shit when you do that. Yeah, everybody hit the thumbs up. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, it's scary, eh? Yeah, I really like this girl. You should always change your locks. Exactly. You should always. I was a realtor and you tell people that, but she's right. These keypad things are hard to change. Very concerning. But it means somebody close to the family, because you don't just give the keypad out to just anybody. What was her name? I like her too. I don't know if let's hope he re-mentions it, because she's not on the screen. I'll go look in the details in a second.
And going back to the neighborhood, I mean, if the prior owners of this house, and I don't know how long they've owned it, but I think it's about 5 years since they got married. The prior owners of this house could have given keys and the key code to dozens of people when they owned it. So, going back to the neighborhood, listen, I don't think that this is, a targeted, we're going to go over to the house that's getting renovated and they look like, there's a dentist in there. That's the house we're going to break into in the middle of the night while they're sleeping. It just doesn't fit with the thought process of a burglar. If you're talking about somebody under the influence of drugs, who is hallucinating high, not thinking well, it still doesn't make sense, because then the place would be completely ransacked and a lot more disorganized. But again, maybe there's some holdbacks that we don't know about.
And you would also think the police would be warning the public a little more about some crazy killer on the run that's random,
Yeah, there would be similar crimes going on in that same neighborhood.
I listened to the 911 calls and it's sad to listen to. I mean, the people seem genuinely concerned at the dental practice. Basically, he doesn't show up for work. He's never been late before. And then they are concerned because then the wife isn't answering the phone. It seems like they know this couple well. What do you make of that time frame?
I think the biggest thing that everyone is obsessing about right now, with the very limited details that we have, is that 911 phone call is absolutely chilling, and it sounds 100% authentic to me that this friend and coworker is absolutely horrified at discovering this crime scene, okay, and talking about the blood everywhere, and I'm sure he's dead. But what sticks in my craw, as we say, is the fact that the wellness check from Spencer's workplace, the dental practice, happened at 9:03 a.m. And they called the police and said he was due here at 8 a.m. He's never late. He's highly reliable. We're trying to call him. And I can imagine a waiting room full of, dental patients, and they don't have a dentist on hand and they don't know what to tell them. So they're concerned and they're calling the home and they're calling the wife's cell. They know this couple really well. They're trying to get in touch with him, and it's radio silence. But to call for a wellness check in 1 hour, to me, is really unusual.
So they're all saying the same thing. We're hearing it from 3 criminal investigators. Jennifer Coffendorfer, ex-FBI. I don't remember the other guy's credentials, but he's an ex-cop, and she's a criminologist. So they're all saying the same thing. Yes, Stella, I will continue to cover this case. I have a feeling, my spidey sense is saying they're going to catch this person very quickly because of everything everybody's saying. This person, it seems personal. The person calling 911, they all suspect. The shooter being on video, that they think that the husband was the person that was targeted. So most dental practices are owned by a bigger group, and the dentist works down to, yes. Yeah. Right? Maybe when the dentist casually talks about his neighborhood, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, man. But let's keep listening. We're almost done this interview, but it's so interesting to me that they're all fixated on the owner of the dental property that called.
Because there could be a dozen reasons why somebody is late by 1 hour to work and can't call. Lost their phone. The phone is dead. They've been in a car accident and taken to the hospital. They could be unconscious. They could have had a sick child. They could have had a death in the family that's left them devastated, and calling work is the last thing on the mind. I can come up with a dozen scenarios why you might be an hour late to work and not be able to call. But they immediately call the police for a wellness check. That's unusual. They don't. And for all I know, they called and said, have there been any reports of, somebody taken to the hospital by the name of...
And he did ask that. But...
Spencer Tepe. But they immediately wanted the police to go there. And the police did arrive there at 9:21. Wow. Within like 15 minutes, the cops were there. Police are very limited in what they can do. They can ring the doorbell, knock on the door, look for any sign of a crime. But if there's nothing, if the house seems secure, they leave. They say we couldn't find anything. And that is why the friends and coworkers from the dental practice went to the scene on their own at around 10 a.m.
And just my last question, there was a police camera like up on a pole nearby, like I think right across the street, actually. So you mentioned the ring cam, but they may have other video surveillance too.
They could. And, that's a perfect thing to hold back while they try to get as much. They don't want to spook the culprit if they have an idea of who that person is. So just like you mentioned, Brian Kohberger, there's a lot of ring camera footage out there. They are gathering that right now. I mean, we just saw it in the Brown massacre shooting. It takes a while to go door to door to door. Please look at your ring camera footage. But there was a ring camera on the front of this house. Was it working? Was it recording? How do you get access to it? That can be kind of tough if the only person who knows how to access it. So they're gathering video footage from the police camera on the corner, from everybody's home security cameras in the area, and the ring camera on the front of that house surely captured something if it was operational. So, which we don't know if it was. Video footage is probably what's going to solve this, along with those bullet casings. Mm-hmm. I don't know that we're going to have any DNA, but I predict 70 to 80% odds this person is known to the family in some way. They are in the inner circle of Monique and Spencer, and we will catch this person. There is no doubt in my mind that we will catch them.
I agree. I'm not a criminologist, but it makes sense to me that this person is in the inner circle of the family. I don't know what's up on the screen, Donna. Jace, who is Dr. Casey Jordan? Is that her? Okay, we've got one more video, and then we're going into the original plan. I kind of butchered because I started Jack and Lilly and then decided to add some. Sorry, everybody. Love you all and appreciate your patience. This is the final update for today, and we will continue to cover this case.
Tepe's brother-in-law. He's married to Spencer's sister, and he's live with me now. Rob, I'm so sorry that we are meeting under these circumstances. Have you learned anything new tonight about who this potential person of interest might be?
No, unfortunately, I know just as much as the next person. I was told by a reporter about 10 minutes before this got posted that it was released by the police department. And when I first saw it, yeah, I do think, suspicious looking person there. It also very well could be, somebody walking home drunk from a bar. But it's evidence nonetheless that hasn't been released until now, and it's good that they're kind of progressing through this.
And this is right between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., which is the window they say they believe that the shootings happened. Rob, do you or your family members have any idea who might have been capable of doing this? Did your family have any enemies? Did Spencer and Monique have any enemies at all that are known?
Not that I can speak on or know of. I know that they've had this massive community around him that they were just so well liked and admired by everyone. You can see in this picture that's kind of defines him. They were always smiling. They were always laughing. So it's really just unbelievable and shocking to all of us when we found out. I still, a week later, it still doesn't feel real. I can't believe I'm here talking about this. So
no idea, honey. No idea, Michelle.
At all. What do you know about the little kids? Spencer and Mo had two little ones. I mean, I think one is 1-year-old, the other one is 4. Do you have any idea what they saw, what they experienced in that home?
We do not. I know, they have met with some people to talk. It sounds like I can't really talk on any evidence, but we've had them with us for the past couple of days. They're with some other relatives at the moment, and they were just as happy and unfortunately unaware as they ever could be. But they're in loving hands, and even more people are coming by their side to make sure that they're taken care of. But yeah, it's just heartbreaking for them.
That's huge what you just said. It sounds to me like they did not see the carnage. This isn't going to be a lifelong memory for them. Were they spared even the visuals of what happened?
As far as I know, I don't think that they were. I don't think that they saw what happened, or at least I want to believe that with my heart. So.
Yeah, or the aftermath. How has the communication been with the police? Have they been updating you? Are they helpful? Are you as in the dark as everyone else?
Personally, I have not been communicating with police, but somebody from the family, is kind of on that role. I just think, we understand that it's a process, and these things they take time. There's a lot of pressure, obviously, but they want to get it done right. And we're grateful for them for the work that they do. It's not easy, and it's sometimes, scrutinized very heavily, but we trust their process that they're going to get this right.
I just wanted to tell our audience, Rob, that we were just looking at wedding video. And as I understand it, this was video that you, as a filmmaker, shot and produced. I mean, it's beautiful. And it's just so hard to believe that we're having this conversation, seeing the stunning work that you put together for this beautiful day of theirs. I know I speak for my audience as well when I say I hope that you can get some resolution and some justice in this. And I hope we can stay in touch on this.
Yes, thank you. We all appreciate it. And again, just thank you for the outpouring of love that we've seen. It's been just amazing for the entire family as we're trying to get through this tough time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to Jack and Lilly here, y'all. Screen is frozen though. Screen is frozen. Let's just see if Leanne can get the screen back into Jesus. My screen is frozen. I'm gonna probably have to go and come back in, y'all. I'm gonna have to probably go and come back in. See if I can even do that. Oh, there we go. Okay, I got it. I fixed it. My lungs are killing me. Lungs are killing. Okay. We're going to talk, we're going to go back, as I said, Jack and Lilly. And I wanted to go back to the interview with Mom. The interview with Mom that the behavior panel covered. You have a nebula. What is that? I missed it all. Oh, Frosty, I'm sorry, honey. You have to go back. What, 163,000? Yeah, is that what they've raised for the kids? They have a GoFundMe page. Yeah, exactly. Can you post? Yes, honey, go for it. Go for it. Can you, Donna, do you have the ability to post on my page? Oh, like an inhaler? No. No, I don't know. You're welcome. Oh, Belinda. Honey, do you want to come in and talk to us? I'm so happy to see you. Belinda, do you want to come and talk to us? We're just getting into Jack and Lilly. Do you want to come up and talk? You're welcome, honey. You're welcome. And I want to say thank you for being the one that's continuing to look for Jack and Lilly and being the only one that's out there looking for Jack and Lilly. I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. Oh, I don't know how you're doing it, Belinda. I don't know how you're doing it. I really don't know how you're doing it. You're welcome. And I'm sorry for everything that you're dealing with. We just read the article earlier about you being alone at Christmas. My dad died, and it's nowhere near what you're going through, but I know what you felt like. You're going to cry for you. I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry, Belinda. I feel so bad for you. So sorry. Sorry, everybody. I just want to give you a hug. Oh, God. I'm sorry you're going through all this, Belinda. I have no idea what you must feel like, but I know it's not good. Oh. Sorry, everybody. These cases eat me up. They really do. Oh, God. Okay, let's keep going, Belinda. Hugs to you. You can reach out to me if you ever want to talk. But I understand if you don't. You got a lot going on. I get it. Donna, can you just put the email in for Belinda for her, honey, just in case she wants to talk? Yeah, everybody's going to give you a big hug, honey. I don't know if she's even still here. It takes a long time sometimes for the chat to get caught up. Oh, there you are. Stay away. I just want to say thank you. I know, honey. I get it. No, I respect that. I don't blame you one bit. I know. We're just trying to stay focused on what's important here. We're trying to stay focused on what's important here. Okay, so I do want to say this to you, Belinda, please, though, because I do volunteer with the Find Me group as a psychic medium. And if you want to email me, and if you want the Find Me group, I know you've got Please Bring Me Home, but the Find Me group runs differently. If you want to find out about the Find Me group, or you can just go to their page and submit a report if you want, or if you want to learn more about the Find Me group. I sent your lawyer because somebody reached out to me, not me, and connected with Daleen to see if you guys wanted my help, and I had no idea. So But I did send to Daleen a video on the Find Me group from the founder of the Find Me group, Kelly Snyder. If you want help, thanks, Donna. He's a retired Secret Service agent of 20-some years, and we do work on missing persons cases. So, but you do have to have the name and phone number of an investigator on the case as part of that submission of the form. But anyway, I'll leave that there for you. I know you've got a lot on your plate. I just wanted you to know that the findmegroup.org, we do also work missing person cases. And I've been volunteering with them since 2018. I did manage to find a boy locally in the water that my guides took me to. You're welcome, honey. You're welcome. We worked a case here in Ottawa several years ago. It's in the paper. In 2018, September 1st, 2018, a little boy's dad was taking him on the boat. Thank you, Donna. And they didn't have enough life jackets. And so they knew the little boy had capsized and was in the St. Lawrence River, which feeds, of course, into the big Great Lakes and then the ocean, Atlantic Ocean. And the police divers were not able to locate his body after 2 weeks because the St. Lawrence has it's very deep water, it's dark, and there's a lot of underground caves. And my guides took me, after the police gave up, Mom had hired her own divers. She was a local lawyer in Ottawa. And my guides took me exactly to the house, and we were able to get the boy home to the family. And so that's how we work as the Find Me group. We work as psychic mediums. We've got astrologers, forensic astrologers. We've got language experts, calligraphy experts. My dad was defrauded. Belinda, you probably don't know my story, by my mother. He had dementia and left to die in Florida in 2019. I became his power of attorney and cared for him. He just passed away of a heart attack in June. But that's how I got involved with true crime. And I was actually the founder of the Find Me group, Kelly, that hired our calligraphy expert. She testifies for the Miami police. She trains the Miami police. And I was able to prove the police didn't do anything in my dad's case. But my dad actually didn't sign the documents that were forged when my mom left him to die. And it left him to die with dementia. No money for food, groceries, or anything in Florida. When I got there, they'd already read him his last rites when I got the call. So the Find Me group is a wide scale. We have canine, we have planes, helicopters, psychiatrists, you name it. Kelly is hard to get a hold of. So if you do decide that you want to, it's free to you. There's absolutely anything expected of you other than to submit the form. It's free to you. And if you want, I can connect you with Kelly Snyder because he's a hard man to reach. And he's a retired Secret Service agent in Arizona who was put away bad guys in the cartel. He's extremely well respected. In fact, we had an officer here, Terry. Terry came into the chat, a retired officer, 2 days ago, Belinda, and he has actually heard of Kelly. And he does trafficking, you name it. So just consider that. It's findmegroup.org. Let me put the link. Thanks, Donna. It's not findme.com, honey. It's findmegroup.org. Let me put it in. And I'm glad to hear that you feel more positive, Belinda. I do too, about the RCMP. I know maybe I'm being naive, but let me just stop this. We'll put this back on. So I know Kelly's going through a lot of stuff right now, and he's a little bit harder to reach. And if you want to go ahead, I won't hound you. I'm going to be respectful. I've done it for other people. I simply just connect you because it's an easier way to get. Thank you, Donna, for Facebook. Okay. And you can just post, Belinda, if you're interested, again, no pressure. It's completely up to you, but it's free. You would just get help. See here, get help. Families in need. We work with, well, when I was going to write a book for the Find Me group, before this happened with my dad, I was set to write a book to raise funds for the Find Me group. And at the time, 6 years ago, we work with police agencies around the world. Kelly's actually had a TV show. He's very, very, very well known, and do work with police agencies around the world, and have worked with the RCMP in Canada before, Belinda, just so you know. And I did mention it to Mike Wilson, because I don't know if you know that I've had visions of Jack and Lilly, and I personally spoke with Mike Wilson that was on the case multiple times before he was removed from the case, and then Chad came in. Mike, I absolutely hands down adore. I'm not so keen on the other guys, but Mike, I think he's been promoted. But anyway, so I did give this information to Mike as well, just so you know, Belinda. But yeah, if you just, I'll leave it there. I don't want to pressure you. I know you've got enough. I'm so glad you came in, because I've been wanting to communicate this to you so desperately, because I want you to have as many resources as you can. I'm just gonna cry again, because okay, let's move on. We'll leave it there. Let's move on. I know, Tammy, I know. Michelle, thank you for your message. Yeah. Okay. I know, I hope so too. I hope so too. I hope so too. Okay, let's go to, I'm doing that right now, Krista. Are you ever impatient, Krista? What? We were going to do that, and then Belinda came in, and Belinda's takes priority. I'm sorry. A family member, when they come in, is always going to take priority over anything else. That's what this is about. This is about the kids and the family, and finding justice for Jack and Lilly. And at this point, it's about keeping the pressure on. Thanks, Tammy. It's about keeping the pressure on the police, you know? And it's not to be rude. And Belinda, Kelly Snyder would tell you the same thing. In fact, when I asked him to come on and talk to us about Jack and Lilly, but he's got some stuff going on in his personal life. But when I told him that Please Bring Me Home was only allowing the search to be outside and not inside the buildings, he was actually quite upset about that. So he's an amazing guy. I'll leave that there. That's all we're going to say. Oh, no way. I didn't know. Honey. I didn't know. Is that the one we just covered the other day when the mom wouldn't let them into the house? I'm not surprising. It's not surprising. Yeah. Thanks, Donna. Okay, we're going to play. We're going back to the beginning again, because we're trying to see, we've been covering a little bit from the beginning. And because, again, I do things differently here if you're new, because we've had some new subscribers, and for Belinda, because I started this case working as a psychic medium and only reporting what I get as findings, I wasn't paying attention, and I still have yet to go back and pay attention to all of the chats and the he said, she said, and all that stuff, because I truly don't care as a psychic medium. Yeah, I truly don't care what he said, she said as a psychic medium. In fact, I deliberately don't want to know anybody else's opinion, because I do not want that. Oh, no way. Okay, thank you, honey. We'll see if we can find that after this. I don't want, I know, honey. It's okay, Belinda. I have a bit of, I don't know if it's pneumonia or whatever, but I'll be okay. I'll be okay. But thank you. I don't want myself to be influenced. And so people send me, you know, other psychics visions and shit. And it's not to be rude. I don't care. I really don't care. And I don't want to be influenced. So now that I have my own theory of this case, I'm not saying I have every single piece together, but I sent a 3-hour live video, Belinda, to the RCMP, which they called me about, and I've spoken to them about it. So, and there is one piece of information that I do want you to know, Belinda, but I can't share here. Donna knows, and Donna's the only one that knows. In my conversations with the police, with the RCMP about the case. So, but anyway, I'm going back to the beginning now, to all of the, beginning stuff that I didn't follow, because I'm still, and that actually brings up a good point. I'm actually still pretty sure of my theory, and I want to read this to you. Sorry, I had to order groceries because I'm sick, so I'm just getting a message that Guillaume has replaced my orange navels with navel orange bag. Okay, Guillaume. Oranges are oranges. I don't care. God love them. I want to read this to you because I feel better. Because as a psychic medium, we're always wondering, am I getting this right? Like, and if you're not, you should get out of the business, because it's like the police. It's like you get a little piece of a puzzle, and does it add up to this? And then let me just pull this up, because we have a follower here from Australia who's a retired police officer from Australia. And she sent me a message about, and I want to read it, that she's been following my lives on Jack and Lilly, and she thinks I'm right on my theory. And she's a retired police agent from Australia, mind you. I'm just looking for that video, for that. Hang on, I'm in the wrong email. It would always help if I'm in the right email. I'm not going to disclose her name because I don't want to do that to her, because I've asked her to come up on, talk to us about Jack and Lilly as a retired police agent. And she said she would, but she's in Australia. Oranges are so good for you. I know, honey. I've been drinking cranberry juice too. So I'm not going to mention her name. Hi, Leanne. As I live in Australia, I don't catch your live. Otherwise, I would, because I said, when she sent me her police badge, and she said, I'm an Australia federal police officer, retired, just FYI. And I said, awesome. Thank you for your service and for sharing this with me. Do you feel like jumping on a live with me to speak about what you see as retired law enforcement officer in this case? And she replied, as I live in Australia, I don't catch your live. Otherwise, I would. If you ever do your live, if I ever do catch your live, I would talk to you about my perspective. However, you with your psychic gift, I believe you're on the right track. And she's been watching me and my theories. And so I don't need to be right. I'm more than happy to be freaking wrong. I would desperately love to be wrong. And these kids are found and they're alive and they're brought back home tomorrow. And any day I'll eat crow all day long to be wrong if it means getting these kids home. But I still have yet to feel differently. And I always ask myself, and if you're following me here, you know this, until we find these kids, there's no theory that should be ignored. There's no stone to be left unturned. And that's been my criticism of the RCMP, that I think they followed the narrative too one directional, they focus too much on them walking out the back door in the beginning. That's just my opinion. Okay, I'm going to blow my nose, block the camera. We're going to watch the behavioral panel. This is their assessment of Malaya's first interview. Love these guys. They're absolutely the best. They know what they're doing, and they have their first assessment here of Malaya's first interview. This is not to bash Malaya any way, shape, or form. In fact, if it's true she's in the hospital, I send her prayers and healing. I personally do not really think Malaya was involved, although I do believe she has some guilty knowledge. Let's play it.
Malia Brooks Murray. She's the partner of Daniel Martell, and their children are missing. Greg, tell us about the videos we're going to watch.
Yeah, I believe they're stepchildren of Daniel Martell, but this is Lily and Jack Sullivan who are missing. This is their mother. She did one interview, and this is that interview. Very short. We're going to cut it into a couple of clips, and you can see what she had to say about the disappearance of her children.
I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up. I heard them playing in the next room beside us. And I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up, and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, "Do you hear the kids?" And he says, "No." And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
So it's not the first time I've seen these videos, but first time I've spent any real time with them. I spent some time with Sadie on her channel, just quick looking and hip shooting. We don't control the questions in these conversations. So what we're doing is secondhand looking. So we have to look very carefully. So I took the approach to say, in interrogation, I typically spend about twice as long prepping as I do interrogating. And I spent about 10 minutes with each of these clips, this one today. This is an interesting one because if you just at the surface take it, it looks like a woman who's telling you her story where she's feeling like, hey, it's a bad situation. I'm sad. There's some grief muscle. There's some downright good eye accessing cues that tell us emotion. But there's something weird going on here. Did any of you guys notice the word "and"? Just quickly. Did you happen to count the numbers of ands? So in the first 10 seconds, there's one "and." I miss them and I want them home. Okay, that's perfect. In the next 50 seconds are 9 ands. Nine. Might mean nothing, but it might also mean these are things I need to deliver in my story. So it immediately puts me on notice to pay really close attention to how many times she says "and" here, and then watch every other clip that comes up and say, is that baseline for her? Because she's from Nova Scotia. She's from a narrow little band of areas. And so I wonder about speech patterns and use of conjunctions and, as I would say, and. This is a lot of and. The cadence is odd. She shifts gears when she goes from talking about missing the children to talking about what happened to that and boom, 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 boom. There's a cadence. If I heard this on a 911 call, I would be concerned that somebody's giving me a story. And maybe that's what she came here to do, is to give us a story, because people who are marginalized and deal with law enforcement may have a different opinion. If she's been talking to protective services, she may have a story planned.
Michelle.
So there's all kinds of reasons she could do it, but there's a lot of conditioning.
Sweetie, I appreciate your question. I would love to ask Belinda a gazillion questions, but she said earlier she's kind of pooped out, and given everything that's going on, we're going to respect that. So I'm not going to ask her to answer any questions today, honey, okay? Okay. And Michelle, you must feel like I'm picking on you today. I'm sorry, honey. I'm truly not.
In here too. She tells a story, and her detail is conditioned at every turn. I heard them playing, but I was drifting in and out of sleep. Not the kind of kids who go outside and we tell them not to go outside. Happen to get out the sliding door, we can't hear it when it opens. That's a lot of conditioning, instead of just saying, hey, we didn't hear them go out the door. They must have gone out when we were sleeping, something like that. So it doesn't mean that she's done anything. It means that I've got areas of focus. I want to turn over that rock and go after her. And this is in 1 minute of a clip. There's lots of tense change. I'm going to leave that to Chase, because Chase is usually on top of the tense change thing. She goes to real time, to current, to present tense when she's talking about going outside and looking for the children, and everything else is in past tense. Not her children. They're not in past tense. It's not what I'm talking about. And then the most pregnant thing I see in this entire thing, meaning I wanted to really dig in and pay attention to it, is she says they were outside playing. It's the only time we see her brow rise. So it's, for me, I'm not saying there's anything really, really brutal here that is telling me she did something to these children, and maybe she didn't do something. Maybe she knows something that she's not saying, but there's a whole lot of bizarre shift of gears from I miss my children to the and storytelling. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. So I want them home and I want them home. That's the first and that we get. I think that and, just like you, I think that and is totally fine because it's just she's run out of ideas and she's reinforcing the main idea, which is I want them home. This suggests she has a feeling that they can come home. So that's it. That's important. I want them home. There is a bitter taste in the mouth and lots of flexing in the throat. I think trying to control the tension in the throat there. Bitter taste could be disdain. I'll come back to why it might be disdain for I want them home. Yeah, I agree, Greg. I didn't count the ands, but there were enough in that storytelling, enough to make me go, there's something important with these ands. It doesn't feel to me like she's trying to hide time, though.
No, not at all.
No. So we've got to go, so what else might these ands be about? And I think you're right,
It doesn't seem like she's trying to hide time. I figured a lot of people are working. That's good. It's okay. I'm glad you're choosing to listen to me when you're working, sweetie. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I know. I thought that was interesting too, my partner. I think it's fear. Well, I don't know, but she's not emphasizing time, which tells me that she's not lying about waking up and the kids weren't there. I don't know. They haven't said that, but that's kind of what they're alluding to. Let's keep listening.
conditioning. So what is she conditioning? I think it's all about the justification of we're not bad parents. And I think if you look at that story, there'll be this was happening and here's a justification for it's reasonable that we didn't hear them. It's reasonable that they're outside playing. It's reasonable because I think if it is disdain, the disdain is around how other people will see her as a parent because she's lost her kids. And that's a problem. You know, you have these kids, you know, you care for them, or society's idea is you care for them. So society's main idea is you don't lose those things, okay? And so I think there's a strong fear this will be looked upon badly. No, but it doesn't seem to me in this storytelling to be at a narcissistic level about this is all about me. I think there is the tension between I want my kids back and it looks really bad that I've lost my kids. And the societal pressure of that. So there's two pressures going on. Where are my kids? I want my kids back. And even just being on camera saying this looks so bad. And at the same time, I need to, and I mean, for me to say out loud that you know, anybody would be worried about how it looks to other people. Of course, they'd be worried about how it looks to other people. And you want your kids back. There's so many conflicting things going on here.
The mainstream media is not broken at all. It is functioning exactly as it was designed. It exists to manipulate you, to divide you, to feed you fear and outrage and distraction while pretending all of that is information. And most people are still swallowing it like it's gospel. I've spent years studying propaganda and psychological operations and human behavior, and I will tell you this plainly. The media is not here to tell you the truth. It's here to shape your truth without you even realizing it. Every network, every outlet, left or right or center, they are all playing the exact same game. Keep you emotionally hijacked, cognitively blind, and addicted to narratives engineered by people who have zero interest in informing you at all. So they manufacture a bunch of division. They amplify lies and they bury stories that threaten their control. This is not journalism. This is mass psychological warfare. This is why we use ground news. It is not just a news.
Sorry, I wanted to play a little bit of that because I thought that was very interesting timing that it comes up in this case. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. But Chase is somebody I want to study under one day. He's just incredible. I get his emails. But but it's not going to happen today. But these people, these gentlemen, 35 likes. There's 73 watching, 74. Yeah, please hit the like button, everybody. I love Chase too. And these gentlemen are truly the best in the business. They've if you research their backgrounds, we won't get into it today. But they work with politicians and military, and they're extremely good at what they do. So let's keep listening.
Of what is actually going on.
Today, we're going to talk about Malia Brooks Murray. She's the partner of Daniel Martell, and their children are missing. Greg, tell us about the videos we're going to watch.
Yeah, I believe they're stepchildren of Daniel Martell, but this is Lily and Jack Sullivan who are missing. This is their mother. She did one interview, and this is that interview. Very short. We're going to cut it into a couple of clips, and you can see what she had to say about the disappearance of her children.
I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up. I heard them playing in the next room beside us. And I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door, and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up, and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, "Do you hear the kids?" And he says, "No." And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
So it's not the first time I've seen these videos, but first time I've spent any real time with them. I spent some time with Sadie on her channel, just quick looking and hip shooting. We don't control the questions in these conversations. So what we're doing is secondhand looking. So we have to look very carefully. So I took the approach to say, in interrogation, I typically spend about twice as long prepping as I do interrogating. And I spent about 10 minutes with each of these clips, this one today. This is an interesting one because if you just at the surface take it, it looks like a woman who's telling you her story where she's feeling like, hey, it's a bad situation. I'm sad. There's some grief muscle. There's some downright good eye accessing cues that tell us emotion. But there's something weird going on here. Did any of you guys notice the word "and"? Just quickly. Did you happen to count the numbers of ands? So in the first 10 seconds, there's one "and." I miss them and I want them home. Okay, that's perfect. In the next 50 seconds are 9 ands. Nine. Might mean nothing, but it might also mean these are things I need to deliver in my story. So it immediately puts me on notice to pay really close attention to how many times she says "and" here, and then watch every other clip that comes up and say, is that baseline for her? Because she's from Nova Scotia. She's from a narrow little band of areas. And so I wonder about speech patterns and use of conjunctions and, as I would say, and. This is a lot of and. The cadence is odd. She shifts gears when she goes from talking about missing the children to talking about what happened to that and boom, 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 boom. There's a cadence. If I heard this on a 911 call, I would be concerned that somebody's giving me a story. And maybe that's what she came here to do, is to give us a story. But
That's not a great comment, That's not a great comment. If I was on the 911 call, I'd be concerned someone's giving me a story. I also just want to ask everybody to please do the thumbs uppy thing. It's free. And if you care about Jack and Lilly and you'd like to have the word get out and get their face and their story covered, it really, really takes a village. So please do the thumbs up. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps push the algorithm out there so more people. I still run into people that have never heard of Jack and Lilly missing. So it happens. And Sebastian Rogers, we're going on almost 2 years, and Seth Rogers just said just before Christmas, he still hears of people that haven't heard of Sebastian Rogers. So please, for the love of God, if you're listening to this for free, the least you could do is click on the like button and help the algorithm so we get more out for these kids. We get their voice out there, okay?
because people who are marginalized and deal with law enforcement may have a different opinion. If she's been talking to protective services, she may have a story planned. So there's all kinds of reasons she could do it, but there's a lot of conditioning in here too. She tells a story and her detail.
If she's been talking to protective services. Now, this is very interesting because we're listening to this in hindsight, and we now know there's a good chance, thank you, Annie, that she was talking to, I don't know for sure, but there's a chance that she was talking to protective services because we know they had been visiting the house.
He's conditioned it every time. I heard them playing, but I was drifting in and out of sleep. Not the kind of kids who go outside and we tell them not to go outside. Happen to get out the sliding door. We can't hear it when it opens. That's a lot of conditioning instead of just saying, hey, we didn't hear them go out the door. They must have gone out when we were sleeping, something like that. So it doesn't mean that she's done anything. It means that I've got areas of focus. I want to turn over that rock and go after her. And this is in 1 minute of a clip. There's lots of tense change. I'm going to leave that to Chase because Chase is usually on top of the tense change thing. She goes to real time, to current, to present tense when she's talking about going outside and looking for the children, and everything else is in past tense. Not her children. They're not in past tense. It's not what I'm talking about. And then the most pregnant thing I see in this entire thing, meaning I wanted to really dig in and pay attention to it, is she says they were outside playing. It's the only time we see her brow rise. So it's, for me, I'm not saying there's anything really, really brutal here that is telling me she did something to these children, and maybe she didn't do something. Maybe she knows something that she's not saying, but there's a whole lot of bizarre shift of gears from I miss my children to the and storytelling. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree. So I want them home and I want them home. That's the first and that we get. I think that and, just like you, I think that and is totally fine because it's just she's run out of ideas and she's reinforcing the main idea, which is I want them home. This suggests she has a feeling that they can come home.
Terry, you're here. I'm so glad to see you here. I don't know if Belinda's still here. We were just talking about you, Terry, in a good way. I was just saying that we had you in here the other day, and you're not really versed with this investigation, that you're a retired police officer. And I just read an email from another retired police officer from Australia who's watching us cover this case. Police did a very forward job from what I have been reading. When you have read, I don't care for polygraph, but 4 questions is enough to get a good baseline. Okay, thank you. So I have been very critical of the RCMP. In fact, I came out and did a live when Chad called me because I told him I'm going live with your bullshit email, Chad. And so he called me during my live because he knew I was calling him out and reading his email on the live. Leanne just sent you an email I just received from RCMP. What? Our government in regards to Jack and Lilly. What? Okay, let me go check. Okay, let's read it. Oh my God. Can I read it, honey? Can I read it online? Because it's got your name and I don't have time to block it out. Okay, I'm going to just read it. I won't show it. Well, hang on. Hang on. You have to tell me. If you don't want me to, I won't. Can I read it? I'm just trying to get. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Oh my God, honey. Okay. I'm going to read it. I haven't read it. We're reading it. It's okay to show. Okay. Thank you. I think I can hide your name. I think I can hide your name. Here, let me just, before I share, let me just move it up. Because we're reading this together, everybody. I'm going to hide your name, honey. Can I hide your name? Can I get it to go that far? Ah! Okay, I'm going to. Shit. I don't know if I can hide it. Let me just pull it up without sharing. I can't do that. It's not going to hide your name. Okay, I'm going to read it because I don't want to expose your name here unless you say it's okay. I'm trying, honey, but I can't copy and paste it right here. Let me try. Am I in this format? Let me just see if I can copy and paste it this other way. Here, let me just download it. See if I can do it that way. Why is it being a bugger? It's not letting me do it. If you can't type my name, it's okay. 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 Okay, let's read it. Thank you, honey. As Executive Director of Department of Justice, Public Safety and Security, I'm responding on behalf of the Minister of Justice to your email dated December 2nd, 2025, regarding the disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan. We recognize the profound impact this situation has had on families and communities here in Nova Scotia and across Canada. Please know that your concerns about communication and transparency with the public are heard and will be addressed with utmost care. The safety and well-being of children in Canada is a serious responsibility shared with police and justice partners, and we recognize the urgency and emotions that accompany the disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan. On June 19th, 2025, the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program with the Nova Scotia Department of Justice accepted the case of Jack and Lilly Sullivan. The Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program is an additional tool to help police gather information on specified unsolved crimes, unsolved homicides, found unidentified remains where there are suspicious circumstances, and missing persons cases where there are suspicious circumstances. The purpose of this program is to solicit information or otherwise to further a police investigation by offering a monetary reward up to $150,000 for the arrest and conviction of a suspect of a specified major unsolved crime. While the Department of Justice oversees policing policy in Nova Scotia, we are not able to comment on specific police investigations nor the release of information to the public. Thank you for taking time to share your concerns. We appreciate the patience and understanding of the public as the policing partners navigate the ongoing investigation of the disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan. Haley Crichton, Executive Director, Public Safety and Security Division. Thank you, honey. Thank you. You're in court today. Listening to headphones, the police are acting like it's just a closed case. I completely don't understand. Okay, so you agree with me, Terry. Like, thank you, by the way, my baby's army. I really appreciate you sending that, sharing it, and I really appreciate you caring enough to do that and sharing it with us. And how do you feel about the answer that you were given? So as we know, criminal, they are asking witnesses to come forward. And Terry, you're in court today, so thank you for dropping in and typing. But so you were here just in case Belinda's still here listening. Belinda's the grandmother of Jack and Lilly. She was just in the chat earlier. I don't know if she's still listening. But you've been covering, you've come on a couple times on our live, I think. And the other day had just informed us you were a retired police agent. And didn't really know much about the case and then offered to read up on it. And now it sounds like you're coming back, Terry, saying you can't comment because you're in court, but you have done some reading. And from what you're saying, she's gone, yeah. From what you're saying, you think they're acting like it's a closed case and you don't understand. That's very interesting. I wish Belinda was here to listen. I wish she was here to listen. Yeah, that's disappointing. I mean, I appreciate your professional perspective. I do. I appreciate your professional perspective. But it's just very disappointing to hear too. Okay, so can I pull they're finished with it unless someone comes forward with more information. That's what Mike Demand said. That's what Mike Demand said. But they're not asking for any more leads from the public. My Baby's Army says, I'm so glad they took the time to reply, but I feel that they should give more update and tell us what they can without jeopardizing the case. I agree. I'm glad they took the time to reply to you. I think they have to politically. But how do you feel about what their reply said? To me, their reply is just a missing, like a nothing burger. Like they appeased you. And they did exactly the bare minimum. And I don't mean to discourage you, My Baby's Army, and I don't want to sound disrespectful. And I truly am grateful for everything you did. And I'll pull that letter back up again in a second since you want everybody to see it. And I do respect that they responded to you. I don't think they have a choice, truthfully. But I also have to share with you, I feel it's kind of like what the White House sent for Sebastian Rogers. It's kind of like the political bare minimum. I feel the way you just said. So you feel the same way? Is that what you're saying? You feel the same way? I kind of feel like they gave you a nothing burger. And yeah, and it's not like we should have expected anything any different, you know? Well, they said suspicious. That's more than missing. That's a nugget, as Donna just said. Exactly, the bare minimum. Exactly. Okay, let's pull it up again since you don't mind if I share it. I just want to make sure it's not got your, it's got some, I'm going to just, I just don't want your email going out. Shit, I wish I could copy and paste it here. This came from Nova Scotia Justice, Public Safety and Security Division, 1690 Hollis Street, Hollis Street, second floor, P.O. Box 7, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J 3J9. Shall we read it again? Should we read it again? Where are you guys saying that where are these nuggets that you're talking about? Where are these nuggets you're talking about? What are these nuggets, Donna, you're talking about, honey? No, I know. The triangle of people, yeah. I know. I know. Where are these nuggets? We need more Oh, I thought you meant the letter gave us nuggets. I was going to say, I don't think the letter gave us nuggets at all. I just don't want to share your email, honey. Looks like the basic letter into what they reply. It's sad. Yeah, I know. I know. What I might do is I don't even have a printer. Didn't they say suspicious in the letter? Let me pull it up. Bear with me. If I could get into Canva, it's my own stupidity. I have 2 different accounts, and my Canva's in my other one. Then I could adjust it as we go. But, you know, Leanne just created a problem for herself. I'm going to reread it. I'm going to reread it. Okay? Dated January 6, 2026. As Executive Director of Department of Justice, Public Safety, and Security, I'm responding on behalf of the Minister of Justice to your email dated December 2nd, 2025. So it took them a month and 4 days to get a standard email out. Okay. Regarding the disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan, we recognize the profound impact this situation has had on families and communities here in Nova Scotia and across Canada. Please know that your concerns about communication and transparency with the public are heard and will be addressed with utmost care. Who are they going to address it to and how? And there's will be addressed with utmost care. The safety and well-being of children in Canada is a serious responsibility shared with the police and justice partners, and we recognize the urgency and emotions that accompany the disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan. On June 19th, 2025, the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program with the Nova Scotia Department of Justice accepted the case of Jack and Lilly Sullivan. The Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program is an additional tool to help police gather information on specified unsolved crimes, unsolved homicides, found unidentified human remains where there are suspicious circumstances, and missing persons cases where there are suspicious circumstances. Thank you. See, my cold isn't helping here today. Y'all heard it well. So they are acknowledging, so that's a bonus. They are acknowledging suspicious circumstances. So that is very interesting. So thank you. There is that nugget. That we didn't hear before. That they are acknowledging suspicious circumstances. So yay, my dear, my baby's army. Thank you, honey. Because that's a little nugget we didn't get before. The purpose of this program is to solicit information or otherwise to further a police investigation by offering a monetary reward up to $150,000 for the arrest and conviction of a suspect in brackets and as suspects of a specified major unsolved crime. While the Department of Justice oversees policing policy in Nova Scotia, we are not able to comment on specific police investigations, nor the release of information to the public. Thank you for taking the time to share your concerns. We appreciate the patience and understanding of the public as policing partners navigate the ongoing investigation of the disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan. Now, the other thing we're getting here, I wish they'd up the reward to $300K. Yeah. If you know something, say something. Yeah. Hang on a second, y'all. Hold on, sorry. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. My shopper didn't get me celiac. He got me gluten bread. Fuck. I don't understand how people don't understand. If it's gluten-free, you cannot replace it with gluten. Jesus H. Okay. Yes, the father was using meth, Terry. An admitted meth addict. And that's he's come out publicly and made a mockery of this case with all kinds of lies and statements that he has changed back and forth over and over again. And I think huge reward, no takers. That tells me the answer lies in the family. Exactly. That's exactly the right, Lana. Thank you for being here. I think you're new here. That's exactly the right. Exactly. And that's what I say. Like, if you've got something to say and you're not saying anything, it's because you're the murderer. Like, the father was using meth and he can't remember the story. And he's known to have been, according to the mom's family, the kids had black eyes. CPS was involved in the case, and he's known, according to mom's family. Oh, great. They're already bringing my order of gluten bread. Known to have been abusive, according to the family, with the kids. CPS was involved for neglect with the kids. And so I'm curious if dad had a meth freak out and maybe doesn't even remember. I don't know if you have any experience with that. I'm sure you do as a retired law enforcement agent, Terry. But I was just curious, is it possible, because his story has flip-flopped so much, the stepdad's, is it possible that he did something and he really didn't remember because he was methed up? And hence why the story kept changing. If you have time and you can comment, if you know if that's a possibility, that would be great. We're going to continue to listen to this interview. And then I'm going to, methed up. All right. Yeah. In Dee's first interview, he looks like he hadn't slept in a week. He looked like a junkie. Yeah, I know. They need to find out where he gets it. The dealer take all kinds of stuff and trade. Yes, Terry. And they also, I would love to have you listen to his best friend went on a rant here one day. We'll play it tomorrow. I want to go over it again. And his best friend is warning him to be quiet. And he wears like a devil head, and he starts yelling and screaming to rock music about him and his wife problems, his marital problems. So I'll give you the backdrop, Terry, because you don't know this. Not in police reports, but in the social media that the family has come up with. The stepdad himself, in the video that I sent to RCMP, the 3-hour live, stepdad himself and a gentleman that's related to part of the family, Darren Geddes. I'm 11 o'clock Eastern, honey, 11 o'clock Eastern, same time, 11 o'clock Eastern. If you want, you can come up and we can talk about it. And then maybe I can give you the backstory to this case. And then you can tell me your thoughts. Yeah, 10 Central. But yeah, because there was a car seen or heard and seen coming and going to the property the night before the kids disappeared between 12 a.m. and 5 a.m. 4 or 5 times back and forth from the house down the road to where the police found part of Lily's blanket on a tree down the road and didn't find the kids. The police have come out and allegedly said, according to Daniel Martel, the stepdad himself, yeah. She claims she didn't know he was a user. They were together for 2 years, but I agree with you. I don't think she's can be all free from any rugs herself. Dealer was outed on another YouTube channel. Yeah, his name is Carmen or Carson or something. But there was a car seen going to and from. And yeah, could it have been the dealer? Apparently, somebody says they thought that the dealer was the car that was going to and from their house the night before. Oh, Chance. Thank you, Chance. Chance, not Carter. Thank you. Chance. You believe she's a user as well. Look at how they lived. I don't know if she was on meth, but when I first tapped into the energy and I told the RCMP, I think she's on drugs too. And just to numb everything. Hence, the trailer was not cleaned, so midnight till the next morning. Doesn't look like she's on meth. No, I don't think she's a meth head. But she's definitely was drugged up because when I tapped into her energy. So what's the dealer's name again? What was his name again? The skin. It's definitely a drug you can't hide if you're taking it. Right there is a lie. That's definitely a drug you can't hide if you're taking it. Right there is a lie. What's the lie? Oh, Chance is the dealer's name. Thanks, Donna. Yeah, see, been listening here in another Zoom interview. Okay, good job. Good luck with that, honey. Chance or Chase? I think it was Chance. Yeah, maybe pot. I think Malaya, because in Canada here, pot's legal now, right? I certainly get that she might have been doing other things, but I don't get the distinction she was on meth. Daniel's teeth are all like meth looking and he's very slim. Malaya's got a little more face fat, like she just doesn't present physically like a meth head, but she could, but we know alcohol, right? Her mom's known to be alcohol heavy. She didn't know he was using they were together for 2 years and she didn't know for the first year he kept it hidden from her, apparently. Yeah. M's supposed to be on psych meds. Apparently, mom is in the hospital now and has been for 7 weeks. That's a rumor. I don't know how true that is. And he's admitted to being in rehab to get off of it. But yeah, if you do come on tomorrow, I think what we'll do is we're going to replay the message of Jordan Geddes. And I want to hear from you if you're here, Terry, because hope floats. Hope, can I share your story? Because I know you've shared it. Is a mod here in the chat. And when she was here and re-listened to his best friend, Jordan Geddes, the stepdad's best friend's rant, Hope had some very interesting information to share. Thanks, Hope. Her son just got released from prison himself as an addict, right, Hope? In fact, he just was released this December 31st and as an addict. And Hope thought for sure the tattoos on Jordan Geddes' body looked like he might have received them in prison, and his language and the things he says is like, and the song he's ranting to are like warning people to shut up and not talk to authorities. And it's very interesting. So I'd love to hear what you think about it tomorrow if you're here, Terry. I think that's what we'll do tomorrow. I was going to do that anyways. I wanted to see if I could plug it into, which I think I've done before. Good source says she's a different person when drinking. Yeah, well, we all are. That's what alcohol and drugs do to you. That's part of the reason they're a problem. People trying to escape, they're what's going on in life. Donna, it's likely they both write rugs to your mental health and she went to the doctor. Well, I don't know what that's about, Michelle, but DM said she smokes pot, not meth. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought, which is not the same. Haley put out, pretty sure the family's got issues with drinking. Yeah, I know. But I don't get the distinct, I don't think she's a meth head. I just don't think that. Okay, let's go in. Let's go back here. We're going to finish this interview. We've been here 3 hours. We're going to call it a day and we'll be back tomorrow. We got another 35 minutes of this interview.
So that's important. I want them home. There is a bitter taste in the mouth and lots of flexing in the throat. I think trying to control.
Yeah, one of the grandmothers was just here in the chat, Belinda Gray, Terry. She's not here now. And there's several grandmothers because stepdad Daniel and Malaya, right, were living on the property in the trailer with his mother, Janie, who I suspect present at the time the kids went missing. Then we have Malaya's biological mom, Cindy. And then because he was the stepdad and not the father, we've got Belinda Gray, the biological paternal grandmother who was just in the chat, the only one currently looking for the kids, had not seen the kids in a couple of years because when Malaya left her son, Cody, the biological father for the kids, for whatever reason, Cody he gave up his rights to the kids. And Daniel was very controlling over Malaya, apparently, and wouldn't let her reach out and continue to reach out to Belinda, the paternal grandmother of the kids. The paternal father gave up his rights. So Mother Melinda leaves Cody. Paternal grandmother Belinda doesn't see them for a couple of years. They move in with her mother at one point, Cindy, the alcoholic, couldn't live with her anymore, and move in with Daniel Martel's stepdad's mother into her trailer, and she moves into the RV outside. And they live for 2 years, a year and a half together in the trailer. And then Malaya decides she wants to leave him and was planning on leaving him 2 weeks before this went down. And I don't think Daniel liked that. We also know that CPS was involved in the case, and we're looking at the kids for neglect and abuse, and they went missing before anything was done. My feeling is, what my theory is, the best friend's dad, Jordan Geddes, Derwin Geddes, has been on here shooting a lot of crap, bullying people, threatening people, including myself, in the chat. I thought Cindy was a heavy drinker. I thought Cindy and Patty were both heavy drinkers. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Thank you, Michelle. And Derwin O'Grady specifically came out and said that Malaya, the mom, was talking shit about the family and they didn't like it. Okay, so it's not Patty or not Cindy, just Patty that's drinking? Okay, I'm sorry, Cindy. I didn't mean that then. Sorry. I thought it was both of them. I thought both of them were drinkers. Okay, my mistake. I thought both of them were drinkers. And I think Malaya knew because CPS was involved and he was a math head. And to add another layer to the stress, it's rumored that he didn't do his income tax return and that they were about to lose their subsidy, their childcare benefit in Canada, because he didn't submit his income tax return, which was their only income at the time, because he had been reduced to working at the mill 1 day a week. The economy out there is very tough, and it's already a seasonal job. Cindy is a nurse. You're right. Thank you. And such, and Haley said she's more serious and too serious for. Okay, and that's why she was enabled by Patty. Okay, thank you. Sorry, Cindy. Okay, so it's the Patty was the grandmother, that is alcoholic. I'm sorry. Okay, my mistake. So now, though, when you compile the fact that we know apparently Malaya wanted to leave by Daniel's own admission 2 weeks prior. They have limited income. There's a CPS investigation. And Durwood, who sides on the family side of the paternal stepdad and paternal step grandmother where they were living, said that the family was concerned about the SHIT that the biological mother, Malaya, was saying about the family. They were concerned. And I have a feeling that that's the motive. That's just my theory. It was her taxes that weren't. Okay, could be. Could be. That's just my theory. Who knows? But you have to remember, if Malaya was planning on leaving, which Daniel, the stepdad, said himself, and then you've got Durwood saying Malaya's going to talk crap about the family, and CPS is involved, and they have their own child together, Meadow, were they worried about what would happen to Daniel and Meadow? Yes, they are common law. I don't know. Technically, common law, we looked at this yesterday, Stella, in New Brunswick, or Nova Scotia, rather, is 2 years. But they have a child together. So that automatically, so I don't know if they're just under 2 years or whatnot. But the fact that they have a child together absolutely means that she could have gone after him for common law. Okay, let's finish this interview because we're getting into a really long stream. Got 30 minutes.
The tension in the throat there. Bitter taste could be disdain. I'll come back to why it might be disdain.
Stella,
I want them home. Yeah, I agree, Greg.
I would have agreed with you, but we researched it yesterday, and apparently in Nova Scotia, it's 2 years, unless Google's wrong. Okay, I'm going to get back on the focus here.
Count the ands, but there were enough in that storytelling, enough to make me go, there's something important with these ands. It doesn't feel to me like she's trying to hide time, though.
No, not at all.
No. So we've got to go. So what else might these ands be about? And I think you're right. It's conditioning. So what is she conditioning? I think it's all about the justification of we're not bad parents. And I think if you look at that story, there'll be this was happening, and here's a justification for it's reasonable that we didn't hear them. It's reasonable that they're outside playing. It's reasonable because I think if it is disdain, the disdain is around how other people will see her as a parent because she's lost her kids, and that's a problem. You have these kids, you care for them, or society's idea is you care for them. So society's main idea is you don't lose those things, okay? And so I think there's a strong fear this will be looked upon badly. Now, but it doesn't seem to me in this storytelling to be at a narcissistic level about this is all about me. I think there is the tension between I want my kids back, and it looks really bad that I've lost my kids. And the societal pressure of that. So there's two pressures going on. Where are my kids? I want my kids back. And even just being on camera saying this looks so bad, And at the same time, I need to, and I mean, for me to say out loud that anybody would be worried about how it looks to other people. Of course, they'd be worried about how it looks to other people, and you want your kids back. There's so many conflicting things going on here. Anyway, that's my take on it. Scott, what do you got on this one?
All right. She talks about the three most important things to her in the world. And that's her children, herself, and them coming home and being home. She talks about home. That's the recurring thing that keeps showing up.
Shit,
So
again.
that suggests to me that that's what's on her mind.
I said, was I muted again? I said, thank you, Terry, for commenting on these guys, on how good they are. I said, I love them all. I think Chase is my favorite. But they are expert at what they do. So thank you for commenting about that as a retired law enforcement agent, Terry. They absolutely know their stuff, which is why it's important we listen to them. It's going to go get the groceries from the door. Keep listening.
That's all she's wanting to talk about. The thing with the ands might be the person asking the questions since she's not, when we go somewhere, somebody starts asking, but they don't have to say, here's what I'm going to ask, or here's the way it's going to go. Here's a list you need. We don't hear that. We just sit down and they can just not say anything, just go like that, and we'll start talking. But in this case, she might have said, well, I don't know what to say other than I miss him. And the reporter may have said, or the person may have said, well, tell us about this, tell us about that, tell us about that. What's bothering you? That may be part of that. So that might be why there's so many ands. But the first thing she says she does after she realizes they're gone is call 911. How many times have we seen people say, well, and it's been 3 or 4 hours before they called anybody? And they're like, well, we wanted to make sure, and we looked everywhere, and it was after supper now, and then, so it got dark. Excuse me. So we finally called, and here's what's happening. Not her. She's like, oh, they're missing. Oh my God, they're missing. I'm going to call 911. We should call 911. So that to me says a lot there, that she was on top of it, coming right out of the gate. So for me, the qualifying she's doing, Greg, goes back to that, what was going on. I think she's trying to tell exactly what was happening, maybe. So
I think she's telling a story. Whether that story is true or not, we can't tell.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you never know that. But so that's what that might be. But I'm not seeing any cues of deception, anything where she's looks like she's hiding anything. So, and to me, it sounds like what a real mother would say and do if her children were missing. Although I agree with you, Greg. That thing about and they were playing in the back, or they were playing outside, and we can't hear them. When she would go back in and qualify those, but not those
bears. They have bears. Just remember that.
Oh, okay. But there's no that big story we get on the front end, like we hear sometimes. And automatically we have to sit through a whole show, even with, we know from that first sentence where they go, like that woman who burned her house down and came in, she was in the gym. What was her name? Or she killed her husband?
Rebecca Fenton.
Rebecca Fenton. So anyway, there I was. I was in the house, exercising, listening to whatever songs I was listening to. All this, 5-minute buildup to, hey man, what happened? Yeah. So there's none of that. She gets right into it. So I don't feel like she's, at this point, I don't feel like she's done anything. And I feel like she believes they're still alive. Like Mark said, there's a chance for them to come home. She believes that they still may be around. All right, Chase, what do you got?
So I think one of the things we can attribute those multiple ands to is 6 weeks of children missing means she has rehashed those details and that timeline 5,000 times with investigators.
This is the next day or days later, Chase.
Okay. Days later, she's done it dozens of times.
Yep.
3 or 4 police officers, a couple of detectives walk through, and they do that on purpose, even though the detective will come in and be like, hey, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to Detective Flip-Flop over here, but I want to go back through the process and kind of confirm the timeline. That's very common, and I think that may be one of the reasons that she's kind of developed a habituation of just kind of going through those key facts that she understood were relevant for the police officers. The second point here that speaks to what you were talking about, Mark, is that when people talk about the number one fear being public speaking, We always kind of see that on these things. We have no fear of public speaking. The fear is of judgment, of social judgment. But if you look at the actual hierarchy of that, your kids going missing is probably higher than that. That triggers more limbic system activity. So one of the first things I look for in any of these videos is the fear of judgment higher than the fear of missing children? And if it is, that means that the missing children, they either know what's happened or their children aren't missing. They were somehow involved in the children's disappearance, so they don't have that fear, which increases what we call performative behavior. And we are definitely not seeing performative behavior, lip licking, extra makeup, hair adjustments, all the things where she's trying to build rapport and shape the narrative and change how she's being perceived. We're not seeing that. So right here, we're seeing the fear of missing children higher than the natural fear of judgment. That's all I got.
Let me ask you this. What's your temperature right now?
101.
101. So you coughing a lot or just like going, ugh?
Just a little coughing.
Yeah.
Like every half hour, I'll do just an old big boy.
Make a scene.
Thanks for making it work. This is sucky day to do it.
Yeah.
I'm glad we do this on Zoom.
So if anybody's wondering why my voice, I'm octave lower.
It's not a bender. It's a
Yeah, it's not been up all night. Well, maybe you have. Are you puking at all?
No.
Okay, that's good.
I'm just staying as hopeful as possible. I want them home. I want to hold them. And I want them home. What happened was we woke up. I heard them playing in the next room beside us. And I was drifting in and out of sleep. And they're not the type of kids that we tell them not to go outside on their own. We always make sure that we're out there with them, watching them. And they happen to just get out that sliding door and we can't hear it when it opens. And they were outside playing, but we weren't aware of it at the time. And the next thing we knew, it was quiet. And we get up and I tell him, my partner, Daniel, I tell him, do you hear the kids? And he says, no. And we get up instantly. We're looking outside. We're looking everywhere, yelling for them. And I instantly just call 911. I just had the instinct I needed to call. They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone. They're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now. But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued. Not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware, someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds. And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
Should have worn your Hello Kitty shirt, Chase. That'd make you always wear that in your when you don't feel good. You should go get that.
Yeah, it's got a hole in it.
Okay. All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah. Okay. So first off here, we get a whole bunch of positive comments about the kids. Yeah, which is really great. Often what we see or hear in cases where somebody has been responsible or knows something about the missing kids is that they will put out some negative ideas about them, almost kind of with an edge of kind of victim blame on them. Well, here we do get, they'll talk your ear off, which we've had from other people who were involved actually in the disappearance, where they've gone, these kids they make a lot of noise, and then she says, they'll speak to anyone in a store, everyone. Now, we could construe that as going, okay, so like they get themselves into trouble by talking to strangers, like anybody, okay? I don't think that's what she's getting at here. I think in Nova Scotia, where she's from, the culture is you talk to everybody. Like in downtown Toronto, and this is Canada, like if I go around talking to everybody, like I'm going to get myself into trouble. In London, if I talk to anybody I see, I'm going to get myself into massive trouble, massive trouble. Tracy, when I first knew her in London, she's from Nova Scotia. Well, her family are from Nova Scotia, so she has some elements of that. She'd smile at people in the park and say hello and whatever. I'd be like, don't get involved. Don't get involved. And this was in London, City of London. Don't get involved with anybody else. Just don't. We don't need that. So look, I think talk their ear off and talk to everyone, anyone. Those are both positives. They're good kids. They're good social Nova Scotian kids. Okay. I appreciate the effort, she says. Okay. So she says, and now there is a polite, gentle inference, I would say, that the police, the authorities, investigators could and should be doing more. But notice how polite it is, how politely she infers, like, get it together, tell everybody they're missing, come on, let's get this together. But she's being super polite about it. And you might go, why isn't she going, hey, come on, find my kids? Because it's Nova Scotia. Like you don't start shouting at the police. They're your next door neighbors. They're nice people. They're your aunts and your uncles, So she is, in her way, asking for more help, which is important. Want them found, want them home. Everyone loves them. I mean, clear as day there. It's interesting. She talks about the possible autism, slower at school, needing more help. I picked up from just articles that are coming through on my feed that this family had been visited earlier by child services. And there seems to be some speculation around that. And of course, my guess is the speculation is around abuse. If you have kids that aren't doing well at school, the last place they will ever want to be is school, okay? So they will find every way possible not to go to school, okay? And if you're a parent, you'll probably, knowing that they're having trouble, you'll probably help them stay off school a little bit. And the first indicator that any social services should be looking for is there some abuse at home is why aren't they at school? But it doesn't mean that there's abuse involved. So it was interesting that she flagged that up. This is, by the way, if you see the movement, this is Peach down here. There's Peach. Some people have said, I don't think Peach exists. Yeah, of course Peach exists. Peach is down there. COVID. Yeah, Peach is down there. And that is real emotion at the end there. I have an ability to put myself very to have low empathy, and so when I'm analyzing, I'll put myself at a very low empathetic level in order to just try and work out what is the behavior, not what are they causing me to feel. I felt empathy for her at the end, which likely means it's a real emotion happening there because I'm not able to cut it off very easily. Greg, what do you got on this one?
So let's talk about cadence. I'm not going to cover a lot of the same things, Mark, but what I will point out is you're right. When she's talking about positive, listen to her cadence, bam, 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 bam. When she starts to talk about things that are negative, like the children's difficulty in school, she navigates and she slows. When she talks about the Amber Alert, she slows. Good, because she's saying good things about these kids. If you're thinking about negative things like, my kids are dead or gone, and you're not thinking of the positives of the children, even if you're saying positive things, it probably would affect her cadence. So good. That's good to see a variation in cadence, I think. She does pronoun shifts twice. Chase, I'm going to hand this to you because of pronouns. You're a big fan of pronouns too. So she says, we had people text me. Why? Don't know. It could simply be that that's a self-protective thing. It could be education. There's a ton of reasons, but I'll hand that off to Chase and let him talk about it next. And then there's another place.
Sorry,
where
everybody.
She uses the words
I just trying to deal with Instacart because the guy delivered me gluten bread, which is about all I can eat today because I'm sick. And they didn't bring the receipt, and I have pneumonia, so I don't have any bread to eat. And they can't do a new order, and they can't do this, and they can't do that. They can't do fuck all. So I'm not in a mood right now because I have barely eaten in days. I'm hungry. And now the idiot that didn't listen to my text. I can't eat the bread and I can't get a new delivery without paying for it again. So I'm going to finish this and then I'm going to go to higher up because I'm not fucking dealing with this idiot. Sorry. Not sorry. I haven't eaten in days. I'm starving finally. But I don't want to eat food. So the only thing I could eat that I ordered was the bread that I wasn't worried I would throw up.
We all want them back.
Anyways, small problems.
I
Really
several
not a
times. She
big
says we
problem in the
twice.
grand
So
scheme
those
of
are
it all. Okay, let's listen in. This is the kind of shit that drives me nuts as a coach. How companies like this survive. We can't order it for you again. We don't give receipts. If I could go back to the store and return it, I would have gone and got it myself. I'm livid.
Points that I would pay really
Hang
close
on, I'm
attention
trying to
to
get this.
and dig in a little bit and say,
I
why is
can't
it
get
we
this to
and I in different places?
play now. What's going on? I can't. Oh, there we go. Sorry for my venting. I'm just sick as a dog and tired of this bullshit.
And the only thing in here
All right,
that's
let's
negative to
go.
me that makes me want to poke a little bit,
Yeah,
and it could be
celiac.
caused by emotion, it could be caused by her being overtaken by emotion and simply pausing, is there's a long pause for effect. At last night was one of the worst because I didn't have them in their beds. That's awkward. It is different from everything else in here. It could be because of feelings, but for just a minute, I'm going to say something I said to Sadie. Interrogator Greg is a lot less compassionate than regular Greg. Just think of this as an individual, as an interrogator. Sometimes we're aggressive and it's brutal in the interrogation room, especially when you're looking for children. So we would be a lot more aggressive with things like that.
The thing that makes me mad is I texted the guy. You guys, I'm on the live. I texted the guy. No non-gluten-free bread. And he brought it anyways, and no receipt. But Instacart won't go back and get the order for me. I have to place a new order and pay for another delivery charge so the actual person could do the right order. Tell me that's not good service. That's not shit service. I mean, the fact that these companies are still surviving and standing is unbelievable to me. That is the worst service. So when I'm off the phone, I'm going to hierarchy up to a manager and I'm going to effing well get a free delivery because I'm not paying for that bullshit.
Question. I would be very aggressive with her and try to get to the bottom of it. Why did that change? I wouldn't ask her that outright. I would hammer her timeline, go back to those ands, because if you notice in this entire video, we don't hear that. That's gone. It is gone. So that storytelling in the first one with and, I don't care if she's done it 10 times. It's awkward because it disappears when we get down here to these details. So she would have my undivided attention because she's changed to a more smooth, fluid delivery about the children. That's good. To a slow halting when it comes to their learning issues. That's good. To a negative in slow halting when she's talking about lack of Amber Alert. That's good. But there are two things in there. Those pronoun shifts and that.
Well, not to mention, I don't even have a car right now, which I haven't told her. You know, I don't even have a car right now. So yeah. When I get off the phone, my rage is going to come out.
Pause for effect would have me crawling all over her. And I said this to Sadie sometime we should cover the difference in how much compassion we have for people in this situation and when we're the guy in the room. And I want you to remember that when you're dealing with a police interrogator, they might be the nicest, best people you'll ever meet, but they've got a job and that's what they're after. Chase, what do you think about those we's?
Yeah, so I think there's definitely some pronoun shifts going on there. And the first thing, if you hear a pronoun shift in any statement, is you look for context. What is it around? Is it around simple things or is it around some specifics? And the thing that she's getting the pronoun shifts around is communication and like the teamsmanship that usually happens between parents. And I think what's going on there, what we saw in the last video is there's a dynamic shift between them where they're kind of like separating from each other. They're not talking to each other anymore. And I think this pronoun shift is just kind of residue from speaking as a couple to speaking as an individual about.
I'm going to call now because I don't want to wait. So I'm just going to mute myself again while I call.
Certain things. And I bet they were probably talking to each other a lot and getting text messages at the same time. And she's probably speaking in her old way of speaking when a relationship was active at some point. And her being visited by CPS, I got visited by CPS when my son was in the first grade. He had a shirt he refused to wash and he wore it for 5 days in a row. And I was like, yeah, go ahead. I don't care. You're in the first grade. but you will change your socks and underwear. So the next Monday, CPS actually came to the house. So I have probably some documented CPS visit. I just let them do it. I didn't care. But yeah, everything here is non-performative. She's being nice about the Amber Alert because she needs resources from the police. So she's not trying to act angry and act mad. She needs resources and help, and she desires it. So it's not a performative thing where she's trying to talk about all this stuff. And maybe there's something in Canada where an Amber Alert means an abduction. I think it means missing child, not abduction. I think it's a missing kid, period.
Yeah.
Just watch the bullshit. I'm waiting. They're going to tell me there's no manager. Guaranteed. No manager available. My psychic stuff's telling me. They're going to tell me. Let's finish this.
So I don't know. Maybe they were giving her some kind of BS about it. I have no idea. Scott, what do you got?
Yeah, and I agree about that,
I'd
about
like
the
to
Amber
speak
Alert
to
as
a
well.
manager,
When
please.
she wouldn't have brought that back up and said, you know, we need to have that happen, she would have wanted it to go away. She wouldn't want anything to happen to help find the kids, you know, or say, no, we can rule this out, you know. And she doesn't bring up this. One thing she doesn't do is throw out those classics like they could have been abducted. You know, this could happen, that could happen. You know, so many different things could happen. Like if you're
injecting ambiguity, I think.
Yeah. It's like in, okay, let's go to interrogation. When you're dealing with somebody who's at a bank and there's a bunch of stuff, there's something missing, you know, and they'll say, well, who all could get into the safe in there? How hard is it to get in? Oh, you know, shoot, man, you can get in over here. You can do this. You can do that. There's so many people could get in, you know, everybody get, and you talk to somebody who didn't do it and they go, you can get in one way. You got the key. We all know where it is, you know. And then you ask them, well, who do you think would have done this? It's Ken. You know, Ken did it, and everybody goes, it's Ken. You know, they'll all say that anyway. But we don't have that situation here. I don't know why Brain went to that. But so she didn't.
I did that, Frosty. I did that. That's too funny. On the first call. Yeah, I know, but I'm not paying for another delivery. I mean, it's not like you're replacing milk for milk. You're replacing non-gluten with gluten. And if you're a complete idiot and you don't understand non-gluten means you can't have gluten, you shouldn't be delivering groceries. That's and when I texted and said no to the gluten and they still delivered it, I'm not paying for another delivery. I'm just not. And I will escalate this if I don't get what I want. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just interesting, you know, God works, spirit works in mysterious ways. I started this rant, this live on a rant about the cop that didn't care about his job. It's everywhere, everywhere. If you don't care about somebody that has celiac when your entire job is just to get the groceries right, don't deliver groceries. That's all I have to say.
Throw all those things out. And then it's been raining there, and she's worried that they're soaking wet and that they're cold. And so she's hoping they're in stay alive.
$9 a loaf for gluten-free.
So she's worried about that. She's thinking personally for each one of them, the cold and it's rainy out there. Then she says, she goes, we thought we found tracks. So she sees herself as part of the effort to find them, part of that psychologically, part of that whole group of everybody working together. We don't see that when there was that one couple where the two little boys were missing, you know, and they didn't talk like this at all, not even a little bit. They separate them. Oh, they're looking for this and they're trying that and they're going to do this and we're just Canada. Here, you know, sitting around. And we always go, why wouldn't you be out there stomping around looking too? How do you have time to sit in front of a TV camera and talk about these things and tell what you think? Why wouldn't you be out there too?
Is,
you can
but
tell
I'm
this
sick
woman
right
she's
now,
there,
and I
but
don't
she's not there
to make
she's
it,
worried
and
about those
expecting
children.
that idiot
That's why she's
to pick
looking
it up.
away and looking
No.
down. She looks dazed a little bit to me. So I think I'm not seeing any kind of deception cues at all here. And I agree with you, Mark, there at the end.
See how long I have to wait for a manager for y'all.
And again,
see, if they say they're giving me a manager, it might be a 10-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute wait.
I always knew I could be. And I can look at those things and go, nope, you know, I don't care. But that got me too. You know, you could just see it on her. You know, I think that's the pain of the whole thing. So, all right, anybody else? We good?
Yeah.
They're both really go-lucky children. They're so sweet. They talk to anyone. They'll talk your ear off. They They will speak to anyone in a store. Everyone, they're just extremely sweet kids. I appreciate the huge search effort going on right now. But we've been pushing for an Amber Alert, which hasn't been issued, not just that they could possibly be abducted, which it is a possibility that they could have been, but just an alert to let everyone know that they are missing. We had people text me saying that they weren't aware, someone else let them know that they were missing, and it would just be nice if everyone could be alerted. We thought maybe that we found tracks, but it's still uncertain. It's been raining and they're probably soaking wet, but with the sun today, I'm hopeful that they are feeling warm. We're all filled with pain and sorrow because we just want them found. We want them home. Everyone loves them. They are definitely verbal, and they do have possible autism, but it's not extreme autism. It's just they have issues with school, and they don't catch up with the other kids. I just want to remain hopeful. But there's always, in a mother's mind, you're always thinking the worst. Last night was one of the worst nights because I didn't have them in their beds. And I don't want to go through that another night without them.
All right. This has been a fairly interesting one. Mark, what does it look like to you so far?
Yeah, I'm just going to pick up on one thing here that we heard before. It's this piece of I didn't have them in their beds. Greg, I think you picked up on this idea that there's a real difference in the way that she pronounces that. I didn't have them in their beds. I think that's about responsibility. That it's your responsibility as a parent to have them in bed at night. And if for whatever reason that hasn't happened, you feel if you're a great parent, you feel responsible. I would say being a parent is, though you love your kids, it's more about responsibility than it's ever about love. I mean, you can love somebody and be totally irresponsible about the whole thing. You know, responsibility is a whole different level. What I get from this is there's a real dreadful feeling of responsibility that she has. At the same time as I want my kids back, there's this nagging feeling of responsibility that it's down to, it was up to her for them not to go missing. And there's that battle all the way through. That's where the tension is. If you see tension in this, if you see something that you're worried about in this, I think it's that, her managing the horror of her, she for whatever reason, lost responsibility at some point or wasn't responsible enough. Chase, what are your thoughts?
Which we've all done. You know, we've all had a moment of neglect. We've all had a moment where, you know, something could have happened and didn't, and something did here. And I'm willing to bet she was in that bedroom the night before this was recorded, and she was probably sitting in there crying on the floor or just sitting in there. That's heavy. And that's probably hitting her. But what we don't see here that we see in a lot of the other ones is perception management and performance. We're not seeing her try to change how people are seeing her as a person. She is behind her eyes. Her awareness is way back behind her eyes this entire time. And when somebody's performative, they're all the way out here because they need to check in with everybody to make sure that everyone's buying their story. Everyone is buying what they're selling. And she is selling nothing to anybody. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you guys a little bit on this one because I'm middle of the road on this one, candidly. This one, because of the and that pattern, makes me really uncomfortable. I'll just say that. And remember, I took the approach, I'm looking at this like I'm going in to interrogate this woman. And so when I look at that and I hear that and, it feels a lot like a 911 call to me. And it feels a lot like telling a story instead of saying, hey, here's what's going on. I do understand she's asking questions.
Let's do percentages real quick.
Yeah, let me finish this piece and let's do a percentage. So for me, I agree with everything you said. Mark, this Child Protective Services piece is a data point for me. Because if she's just told this story, she's going to have and in her mind because she needs to validate if something's happened and she's had to protect herself, for example. So I get it. That part could affect the story. But there's also responsibility on the part of us. And to your point about her feeling responsible, yes. On the side of the interrogation team, on the side of the guys who are doing the work, I would have the responsibility to say, there's an anomaly. I want to know why. I'm not saying she did anything. I'm saying this would get the worst of me because I would tear every detail of the story apart looking for any deviation. And I do think these people live kind of a marginal life. If you saw their place, it reminds me a little bit of Don and Candace. The house is in shambles, that kind of thing. So they probably are accustomed to having to accommodate reasons why things occur, because everybody knows if people make excuses for why things are the way they are when they can't control them. When you're marginalized, that's the case. So I'll give her the benefit of a doubt there, but say if I were interrogating, I would take that story to pieces. I would just go after the story there because it is not fluid like the second part of the story is fluid, which makes me very uncomfortable. I'd say if I were going in, Chase, with a 60-40, I'd say 60% I don't trust her, 40% I do. How's that?
I was going to say, what is our percentage for each one of us that the disappearance of these children was not a willful act?
You mean something these people caused in some way?
Right. Willfully.
Thought out. Not an accidental situation.
Right.
Yeah. Well, accidental goes a lot of ways. I'll leave it at that. I will say, in terms of thought out, masterminded, some plan to get rid of, I have zero doubt in that something, whatever happened, was not planned out.
Yeah, I'd go the same, zero.
Yeah, planned out. Could they be part of it? Different story, different equation entirely. Because you feel grief if you cause the death of your own child, for sure.
But what bugs me about this, when little kids get up, they want to eat. They're not going to be outside goofing around. They're going to be coming in there going, hey, what's going on? Why isn't she up already? You know what I mean? We need to eat. But that's the first thing you do in that the protocol of the day for kids is they want to eat.
I don't usually do this, but since you're bringing it up, if I live in a place with bears and I got a silent door in my house, I'm going to fix that. Number one. Number two, nothing looks silent in their house. There's a whole lot of story holes that I wasn't touching that I would say, okay, hold on. But look, I live in the woods. If I had a child here, every door I have would have a childproof lock because we don't have bears. But what we do have is woods and creeks and rivers and all that kind of thing. So forget all that. I was just trying to give her the benefit of a doubt on the story and say, I'm not thinking that she came up with some idea. Might not even be the kids are gone that they're still living and gone. Who knows what the story is? I'm just telling you that with this short 2-minute video that we just watched, 2.5 minutes, it's difficult to know because she's not challenged on any of the questions, my opinion.
Okay, well, here's what I think. I really like this one because I think we're seeing true emotion and we're seeing somebody who hasn't sat for a long time and structured the story and say, I've got to do this. I've got to say this. And I'm like you're saying, Chase, is non-performative. Like you're saying, Mark, it's true emotions coming out. So I think we're seeing real emotion. I think she's really upset about that. Now, having said that, like we're talking about, whether it's her fault or his fault, I think she would. The thing is, here's what I learned is she hasn't talked to this guy, Daniel Martel, since all this happened. They haven't talked. She has shunned him, in other words. Won't take his calls, won't text him back, nothing. So maybe she thinks there's something going on that he caused it or didn't care enough or something like that. That's the thing that gives me pause to say something might be up here with this. And another thing I want to talk about is Chase and I are now enemies. But Mark, what I'd like to do is Chase, let's me and you team up and be a team together and add Mark to our team. And since Greg went against all of us, let's get rid of him. Let's kick him out of this thing. Let's team up and we'll be friends. And then get rid of Greg.
Then we'll have a 3/3 majority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Greg? Now, who do you agree with?
Me.
So, but doesn't that make sense though? I mean, if she's getting rid of that guy.
Well, no, look, if she thought he did something, she'd probably throw him under the bus. Mothers have a lot of mothers have an instinct to say, that guy's a scumbag and I want him in prison and here's why.
Well, and also remember the number one thing that is most likely to happen when you lose a child in any way is that you will break up.
That's correct. Something like 2/3 of people, if I remember my numbers right, who lose a child split.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pray for those kids.
Yeah, for sure.
These are babies, man. For sure.
Really?
For sure.
All right. Thanks for another good one, fellas, and we'll see you next time.
The behavior panel.
Are you sure that interview was 2 days later? I'm still waiting for a manager, if you can imagine. Yeah, she was on day 2. Yes. I thought that was the same day because that was when everybody was looking around for the kids. I thought that was the first day. The fact that mom left the next day. Yeah, but again, if she's afraid of Daniel, I don't know. This person that was honeypotting Daniel was just to get info. Could have wanted to. No, I know. Okay, everybody. Wish me luck with the bread. It's a long live today. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to go change the title to add the couple that we covered. We'll see you all tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to go back and listen to the behavior panel again. I've heard it before, but I want to listen to it again since I've been on hold listening to music for 10, 15 minutes, waiting for a manager. Yeah. Think they're going to get me a manager? We'll see y'all tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. Love you all. I appreciate you being here. Please send some prayers for Jack and Lilly and family. We'll see y'all tomorrow. We'll see y'all tomorrow, everybody. Thank you so much. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's really not a big problem, Brad, but it just goes to show just things like that. You just think you're a useless Instacart shopper. These things matter to people if you cared about your job. End of my rant. Love and light, everybody. See you tomorrow.